All right, guys, this next guest is a lyrical monster straight from Psycho+Logical-Records. When I interviewed Necro, you guys asked for me to interview him next. I'm talking about the one and only Mr. Hyde.
Oh, look at that. They got the generated applause. I like it.
What's good, Hyde?
I like the generated applause. That's like when you're watching an old school 80s sitcom or some shit and, you know what I mean? They put the fake laughter and shit.
Yeah,
I like
right.
that.
You got the audience, bro. We got the audience cheering, you know?
Yeah. What's up? What's up, my imaginary audience? That's
Right. What's good with you today,
real.
man?
It's like the Jeffersons. You watch the Jeffersons and they laugh in the background and I'm really laughing. Some shit like that. Nah, I'm good. I'm in my office here. I'm in my personal space. You all up in my personal space? What's up?
Yeah, man. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
I appreciate you looking at. Listen, I appreciate you. You know what I mean? Hollering at me. That's what's up.
So I like to start at the beginning. So you're originally from Queens, right?
I am. I'm Elmhurst, Queens. I was born in Elmhurst Hospital, the same hospital that the legendary Cool G Rap was born in, and that's like a foreshadowing. When I finally got to work with him through Necro and everything, when we did the Godfather's album and Chill, I found that fun fact out. You know, I was bugging. I was like, wow, we were born in the same hospital. That's what's up. Like, you know, like a decade or so after. So I thought that was kind of cool, something to bond with. But yeah, Elmhurst, Queens. Then I moved to Maspeth, and then Ridgewood, and then Bushwick after that. And then I bought something in West Palm Beach, Florida. That's where I'm at now.
Wow. Okay. So the part of Queens that you're from, Elmhurst, right? Like Queens is really diverse, right? Different ethnicities and everything. The part that you grew up in, would you say it was predominantly black, white, Asian?
Bro, it was a melting pot. So we had everything. And it changes. That they call Queens the melting pot of New York, right? So from block to block, it just changed. It was random, right? So we had a little area where it was like Italian, and then like an Italian family, like we're connected goons and stuff like that. Those type of families, right? And then you had like a few blocks over would be like Puerto Rican, just like Latino, and like that little area. The area in Elmhurst where I was born is very South American. You got Ecuadorians, you got all different like types of like that area. And then 2 blocks from there is Left Rack City, where it's the projects Left Rack, all black. You know what I mean? And the fucking right next to that is Queens Center Mall, and that's like the hub. I was like blocks away from Queens Center Mall, so in the park over there, and it was just like a blend of everybody. And then you got the different ethnicities, and then the different restaurants and just like corner stores of different races. You had the Habibi spot, the Chinese the Chinese takeout restaurant right there, the dope Italian pizza place right next door to that, the liquor store, this, that, and it's just like whatever. You go from block to block, and it's like you're in a different culture.
Right. How long did you grow up in Queens for? Like, to what age?
My whole life till to like 44, 43, 44.
Wow.
So from when I was born to my early 40s.
How would you say that diversity affected you overall? Like, how did it influence you?
I mean, it made me very comfortable with everybody, So I was very, I got along with everybody really. Cause I mean, when I was young, I was like in schools, like the first schools or whatever I was in, first little public schools and stuff. It was completely diverse. So I was very outgoing. My mother was always like, "Oh, go play." She'd bring me to the park. She'd be like, "Go make friends. Go talk to. What are you doing? I'm not gonna run around with you. You got mad energy. I'm not gonna. You go make friends. Make friends with somebody your own age. Look, that little kid is playing over there in the swings. It didn't matter what color he was or she was. Whatever. Just go play. Go do what you gotta do." So, jump on the seesaw with the little Chinese kid and we rocking. You know what I mean? Or with the little black kid, we rocking. So it was kind of like that in Queens, and that was how I was brought up. and that's how it was really. And then a little bit later, as you get older, you deal with like the bullies and the crazy, the crazy stuff from old New York. The thug shit, that type of stuff, and then it kind of hardens you, and people start to click up in high school, I clicked up a little bit with like, people who were into hip hop, like later on, and the jocks, because I was a high school and all through school and younger years I was an athlete, so different sports and stuff. So so I was kind of like a jock, thug, rap, hip hop, music type cat, but I was outgoing, so I got in where I fit in. You know what I mean?
And you're Italian?
I'm Italian. Yeah. So my I'm third generation. So my father was born in Brooklyn, Greenpoint, Brooklyn. Old school Italian dude. You know what I mean? Shout out to Eugene up in heaven. He passed away last year. Actually, it's almost been a year. So Eugene, Eugene Catenacci, real Italian, from Brooklyn, with like my uncle, his brother, his older brother had mob ties. So he was actually the captain for the Genovese family behind this gangster named Jimmy Napolitano. So they my uncle was a real connected guy. You know what I mean? And my father he got involved with that as far as he would run like horse rooms and gambling rooms and poker rooms. He was very into gambling and stuff like that. So they'd break him off with something to do, but he wasn't like, he wasn't a made man. My uncle was, but they were born here in Brooklyn, and then in New York, and then my grandparents, their parents were both born in Naples, so they're immigrants from Naples, Italy. And on my mother's side, my grandfather on my mother's side is from Palermo, Sicily. He was born in Palermo, Sicily, immigrated here, and my mother was born in Queens. But and they're Sicilian, obviously. So half Sicilian, half from Naples, and then like I'm sure everybody's got all little roots and things like that are in there, like little like backgrounds. When you do that ancestry.com shit, I'm sure there's some other stuff that's sprinkled in there. Right. No one's 100% of anything. You know what I mean anymore.
Right.
So I feel like it is what it is. But I grew up Italian, but then I gravitated towards whoever I was with, like so on some hip hop shit or on some sports background, sports shit. So it was just like I was exposed to it all.
Would you say that there was a lot of racial division where you were growing up, though, or did everyone pretty much get along?
Different times with different people. Everybody's different. Like the people that you run into. So it all depends on like I said, people would click up and do certain stuff. I was never down with that shit. I was like, if you're an asshole, you're an asshole. If you're cool, you're cool. So even my mom, being Italian, she had black friends. And she still does to this date. Right now, like some of her best friends are Marley and Eddie. They're Haitian and they're like like family. So they come over for dinner since I'm a little kid. So I mean, I wasn't really now Italian kids who grew up a different way in my neighborhood, they would say shit. They would be on some like racist shit because their parents taught them. I was kind of like, I always knew that nobody's born with any kind of racism. You're not born that
Facts.
way. You're taught that way. You're taught that way, or you grow up that way. So I always look at it. I always equate shit to the animal kingdom, right? Because I'm on some fucking Darwinism, the strong survive. You know what I mean? The top of the food chain type shit. So a baby deer is born a baby, right? And if he learns to walk and stumbles into the lion's den, he ain't gonna be afraid of the lion. He's just gonna be like, "Hey, lion, what's up?" Like I'm a fucking deer. I'm just born. You know what I mean? So and the lion's gonna be looking, "What the fuck is this? Stumbling into my den? Doesn't he know? Don't you know you're my food?" And no,
Right.
he don't know because the the mother and father deer didn't teach him that don't go in the lion's den. That that's your apex predator. And that's the food chain. He's gonna eat you. That's circle of life type shit, right? So nobody's raised like, oh, you see that family over there? They're black. Don't go over there. That's the black people. Don't go. Like, I mean, if you're raised that way, then you become that way, or you learn from your parents. But if you're like, oh yeah, those are the neighbors across the street, Marley and Eddie, they're cool. Go say hello. You know what I mean? Oh, bring them this fucking casserole. I bring them the casserole, and that's it. So that's how I felt. And now, if the Polish family across the street are assholes and they're like, get off my fucking lawn. Oh, like there was people in my neighborhood. I had more problems with my own race, and I feel like that's the craziest shit because like with like black on black crime, right? So like there's that statistic where the biggest killer of black youth is black youth. You know what I mean? So we had the same shit. I had older Italian Guineas, tough guy people who were like who grew up in that environment with the scumbag father who works at the fucking mechanic all day. He's grease monkey, comes home and beats his wife and beats his kid. And now that fucking little guy learns, and now he's roaming the streets like a psychopath, beating up all the fucking little kids. You know what I mean? So it's like that's how I looked at it. Like, so if you were raised in that fucked up environment, you become fucked up. Unless
Yeah, it's a
you're
cycle.
introspective, right? Unless you're introspective, unless you basically are a smarter and a more intuitive kid, and you peep shit, you know what I mean, and you don't let it affect you. So a lot of times, the sins of the father, right? So let's just say my father really wasn't. He was smart. So he'd be down with a lot of like old school Italians that would be like, oh, fuck them moolies or whatever, some shit like that, right? But my dad was smart. He was like, nah, that guy's cool. He wouldn't involve himself in that type of shit. So that's not how I was raised. But you're around it and you could choose to join it because you're a follower, or you could be like, no, what are you talking about, bro? That guy's cool. Why are you calling him that? You got a reason to call him that? Oh, he did that? Oh, all right, well, whatever. So it's like, do your own research. Get your own experiences. And I'm the same way with like movies. So me and Necro were just talking about there was a new De Niro flick that dropped, and so people got their views about De Niro now, and because of the politics and shit like that. But if the movie's dope, the movie's dope. You know what I mean? Maybe he put out some
Right.
bombs, some stinkers, some bullshit that we didn't like over the years, some bullshit ass movies. But if he dropped something new, the Alto Nights came out. And Necro was like, "Yo, peep out Alto Nights. It's goon shit. It's the same people who wrote Goodfellas." And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, De Niro put some new shit that's good, and I was criticizing it already. I was thinking he hasn't put out anything really dope in a while. So I watched it, and it was pretty dope. I enjoyed it. So you can't go on based on previous history. Sometimes people change, people do whatever. You got to take each experience as they come. So
Right,
that's how I
right.
feel about racism. It's like that. A critic could say something sucks, and until I watch it for myself, I wouldn't have seen all these dope movies that I'm influenced by and that molded my personality over the years if I listened to the fucking critics. Scarface
Hmm.
got terrible reviews. The critics shit on it. Um, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, when it first dropped, got shit on. In the '70s or whatever it was. Certain flicks, The Toxic Avenger, these types of flicks that I'm very that I came up watching. We'll get into that later, but like I said, I'm gonna judge on my experience with the movie, with my experience with the person, with the race. I mean, I think of black culture. I'm thinking of my favorite era. I'm thinking of hip hop. You know what I mean? About like '80s and '90s hip hop. I think Rakim, and even before that, when I was listening to my mother's headphones, she had the Sony headphones, like the big, the first noise canceling headphones, big joints with the vinyl collection. And what was she rocking? The OJ's, Marvin Gaye, like Barry White. So as a very little kid, I discovered it and was putting the records on in the 45s with the thing, and I'm listening to all this stuff. She liked Motown shit. I mean, it was dope music. But she liked a lot of other shit. I mean, she had, she had the Donna Summer, she had the disco stuff, and then she would have Hall and Oates and that type of shit too. So Rick Astley, you know what I mean? Like she blend a little bit of everything she had. So I was, just as a little kid open to it. So I made, and that's the type of shit I think about when I think about the blacks as far as in music. I'm like, it's phenomenal. So I didn't, and then as my experiences came along, yeah, I had issues with like Black Thugs and that people being racist toward me on some like this white boy shit. So I've had that, and then but I know how to separate it. I know how to separate it per situation.
Did you grow up with any siblings?
Not for the first like 11 years. So my mother and father. So my mother was 22 years old when I was born, and my father was 47. Right, so he was like an old school
Wow.
who's my. So this is a crazy story. My grandmother, who was wild, rest in peace, Yaya. Right, she was nuts, and she used to dress in like the leopard print outfits with the bleach blonde hair and walk around with the high heels, leopard print leather. On some just nut job shit. And she was like she was an alcoholic. She liked to drink. She'd be in the bars, and she's just a knock around girl from the time, right? And she was a waitress in a bar, like a bartender, waitress, server in a bar that my father had a piece of with his partner at the time, this dude Spike, right? So they had this bar, and my grandmother was the bartender there. So as my mother became of age, 21, whatever, and popped up in the bar, and she was young and looked good or whatever, my father would be like, "Who's that?" Like, well, who's that young whatever. And my grandmother was like, "Yeah, it's my daughter," and she was cool with it. She was like, because she knew my dad, and my dad was cool to her or whatever. She's like, "Yeah, go ahead, you got my blessing," like that type of shit. And it was on some, my mother was probably infatuated by that lifestyle, and my father had connections and this and that, and they got together, and I probably wasn't planned. And then my father, they broke up when I was like 1 or 2, and then but my father would pick me up on the weekends. And then my mother got, there's a couple of different dudes coming through, you know what I mean? So like boyfriends, my mother would have different boyfriends and stuff, and I would get like bullied and harassed in the neighborhood, like like, oh yeah, Chris got 6 fathers, like that type of shit. And you know what I mean? Like, and I would fight. I'd be like, wow, what the fuck did you say? And we'd do our little 6-year-old, 7-year-old fight, roll around in the fucking grass. We'd put each other in headlocks. But yeah, and then later on, she got married and had my brother, my half brother, who I don't consider my half brother because he was a baby and I'm 11 years old in the house, and that's my little brother, and I basically raised him as a, kind of the man of the house because she split with that dude eventually, my brother's father, you know. So and then we got kind of raised in different eras, like a decade different era. So I'm 11 years older than my little brother, and because I ended up rebellious and crazy and a little street and this and that. My I got kicked out of the house when I was like 16, and then my brother at that point is like 5, 6 years old, whatever. He was raised like really under the thumb and sheltered, and my mother like really instilled, like, join the military, do this, do that, like got him, like try to get him on the straight and narrow because she didn't want to deal with what she dealt with me, with him, a second time. She made mistakes. She was young with me, and I made a lot of mistakes. I was crazy. So we forgive each other now, and we're good, me and my mom, because now my mom is grandma to my daughter, and we're cool now, because she's good with my granddaughter. But it was crazy. So I kind of raised my brother. My mother would work 2, 3 jobs, and I'd be in the house babysitting my brother, but also watching horror movies with him and stuff. And then he rat me out to my mother, like, oh, like, what'd you do with your older brother? And he would, he'd be 4 years old. He showed me the severed head. And I would tell him, look, Nick, the severed head. It would be like a werewolf movie where the werewolf cut the guy's head off. Like I was a teenager and I was nuts. So, I would get in trouble for that shit. Like, what are you doing? And I had my friends over. My friends would be ringing the bell. My teenage 14, 15-year-old friends. Like, yo, come outside. We're going to go do this, do that. We're going to go play ball. And I'm like, nah, I'm watching my little brother. He's too little. I can't bring him out. Come up. So my mother would be working a night job or something, and I have my fucking goon friends in the house, like bad kids. And my little brother, I put him in the room, watch Disney or whatever, watch the fucking Little Mermaid or whatever. And we're making jerky boys crank phone calls on my mother's phone and doing crazy shit while my brother's in the other room watching movies. So like we got that shit, that camaraderie. And then later, as we got older, my brother actually went to the military and became like Army, and he graduated St. John's program, military program, and then and now he's a police officer in Baltimore. So wow,
Wow.
we took two different paths. Where I was always, raised like fuck police, but my brothers ended up being a good cop. Like he's not like a ball breaker cop. He's like he just wants to do his shift, come home to his family, that type of thing. And
You said that you got kicked out at 16. Why did you get kicked out of your mom's house?
my mother just couldn't deal with me anymore. Like I was, as I alluded to before, I came up with a lot of like bullies and just environment stuff, old New York type shit. So I was always out playing sports, doing whatever, trying to be. It's like the Boys in the Hood scenario where you saw that movie and the older goons would come through, steal your football, do whatever. So we had that real bully, ball breaking motherfuckers in the neighborhood. Some older psychopath kid with hair under his arms already, like a big fucking gorilla, would come down the street, some Italian goon, right? Stinky motherfucker, right? And he would like hold you down and beat the shit out of you for no reason, like on some wild, just like whatever, just because he could walk down the street. Oh, there goes Charlie Galena, like, and everybody would be afraid, and I would be like on some. I was weird. I would be like, why? Like I didn't understand why you're doing that. So, and I knew it was wrong, and I was one of these kids that I was on some stand up for the rest of. I was very protective over my friends because I was like a team player. I always been, and I still am, and my friends will tell you, Necro, I'm very protective over my friends. So I would sacrifice. I would be the martyr. I'd be the one to punch that guy in his face, and it would do nothing because I was 6 or 7 or 8, and I punched this guy in his face, and then he would just get on top of me and beat the shit out of me. So it was, but I still punched him in his fucking face. You know what I mean? So people around would be like, "Oh, Chris is crazy," but really, I'm not that crazy. I was just standing up for you, and you're a fucking pussy because you didn't do it. That's how I thought in my head. I'm just like, don't. There was these dead end. We lived on a dead end block, and there'd be like this opening, and there was train tracks down there, and all like the older, supposedly bad kids, thug kids, would hang out there, smoke weed, do whatever the fuck they're doing. They would do bad shit too. They would like kill cats and like kill animals and they were fucked up kids. And we had a shortcut. If we walked through the opening in the dead end, we could get to the candy store. We could get to the park quicker than to go around the other way down, and walk blocks and blocks to go all the way around. So going through the opening was a shortcut, but it was like you got to pay the Billy fucking ogre Billy goat toll. There's ogres there. You have to go there and go through those motherfuckers who are there, and maybe they'd like, oh, you got to take your hits, you got to take your punches. They'd line you up on the fence, punch you, rob. Oh, where you going to candy store? What do you got? How much money you got on you? Like, that type of shit. So my friends would be like, yo, no, we can't go through there right now. Those kids are there. And they were down with this crew. I'm not gonna mention the name of the crew that they were in, but yeah, they're down with like a certain crew in the neighborhood, like graffiti crew that was like the tough kids or whatever. So I would be like, nah, fuck that. You can't show them that they're scared, that we're scared, because then we're always gonna have to go the long way. We got to go and just go through and whatever we got to do. We got 7 or 8 of us or 9 of us, and there's maybe only 3 of those kids over there. So then we fight. I was like, we fight. But I was raised on like movies too, so I was like, fuck it, let's fight. I'm watching movies like Platoon. So as a young kid, we'll get into that too. So I'm like, fuck it, let's do it. I'm on some like let's stand up to these bullies. And my father always taught me that too, like punch a bully in his face. Don't let anybody put their hands on you. My mother was like that too. At a very young age, I would cry to my mother like any little kid, like, oh, this guy's bothering me, blah, blah, blah. And then she was like, well, she might go have a talk with the kid's mother, and if the kid's mother was like, boys will be boys, they've done that. They're like, oh, yeah, who cares, boys will be boys. And my mother would be like, oh, yeah, boys will be boys? Chris, come here. Next time his mother's a douchebag too. Next time the kid puts his hands on you, punch him in his fucking face. And then when I got that okay from my mother, I was like, oh, a word? I'm not going to get in trouble? So, I'm a mama's boy. My mother was, a single mom. What she said went at that time. I wasn't afraid. I was just afraid to get in trouble for my mother for doing it. So I don't want to be grounded and beat. My mother would beat the shit out of me too. So I wasn't trying to get hit with the wooden spoon or the fucking metal wire hanger, which would happen. So I went and did it, and punched a kid in his face, and eventually it became like that over and over. And I wasn't scared, and I would tell him like, "Yo, we got 7 of us. Let's go. Like, I know that they're bigger and they're stronger and they're crazy, but let's get crazy. Let's go down there with a fucking wiffle ball bats or whatever the fuck we had." And they were like, "Nah." And then I would go by myself, bro. I would go. I'd be like, "You know what? Let me show these fucking kids." 8 years old, 7 years old. I would go through the opening, and these kids would be looking at me like, "Yo, this kid's got balls." And they would do their little thing. I remember one specific time. The guy's name was Joe, right? Just one specific time, and he was a kind of a psycho. He was drinking, like drinking, I don't know what the fuck. He was drinking like hard liquor in that area. It was like a liquor bottle, and he was like 16, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we got to play the punching game where you punch me, I punch you, and you like some bullshit." And I'm like, in order to pass through. So I was like, "All right, fine." And he goes, "Okay, you punch me in my arm and I'll punch you in your arm," and like some stupid shit. So I was like, "All right, cool." So he puts his arm out for me. He goes, "You could go first, little motherfucker," right, or whatever. So he puts his arm like that, and I punched him dead in his face. I didn't punch him in his arm. I hit him as hard as I could in his face. And all his friends were like, "Oh shit, that little motherfucker punched you dead in your face." And then, then the guy beat me up. So, but I went to the store, beat up. I got my shit, and I came back. And on the way back, I guess they might have talked or whatever they did. And on the way back, he was like, he was cool with me. He was like, "Oh, whatever, go ahead, go through." So it was like it was weird. And then eventually, they would send my friends would send me to the store. "Oh, Chris is cool with them. They don't fuck with him." And little did they know they were fucking with me here and there. But I was doing wild shit. It was embedded in me to like not take any shit at an early age, and that carried through to hip hop and doing shows and making my imprint, in my path and whatever I did. So I kind of like the feeling of oh yeah, like he stood up for himself. He's got balls. He's got, and then like later on, like my favorite movies would be shit like Braveheart, where, 300, a small group of strong brothers that stood up against the fucking resistance, and stood up against a tyranny, let's say, or much more people, like gladiatorium type shit. So I'm into all that. My father would call my cousin Johnny, who's a little older than me, later on when I was 16, 17, 18, whatever. And he'd call him up. He'd be like, because my father wasn't around. He was playing poker. He's knocking around guys, he's knocking around with like connected dudes and doing his thing. And he'd be like, "Yo, cousin Johnny, you gotta look out for my son Christopher. He's getting into all sorts of trouble. Like, what's the problem? What's going on? You're not looking out for him. What are we doing?" And he would be like, "Uncle Eugene, Chris is different. He should have been born in gladiatorium ages. He wants to be a gladiator." Like, like on some, he would tell my father, like, "Oh," and my father would be like, "Yeah, he's a little battler. He's a battler." My father would say shit like the turlet bowl and put the pedal to the metal. He talked like old school shit. And he's like, "Yeah, my son's a battler." And he'd just be proud. He'd be like, "Oh, cool," because he was a battler. So, but he wouldn't really get involved in like really, he'll say something, "Look before you leap," and talk to me in like cliches and like, "Oh yeah, oh the bullies, yeah, punch them in the face." Like he was in and out with like his wisdoms and this and that, and tell me stuff, and I would remember it. And but anything that my father said, I hung on to because it was my dad, and I yearned to be with him, to have that father-son relationship more. But he would, a lot of times, he would pass me on to the guys in the poker spot, and they would put like, it was very Bronx Tale. They would put $5, hey, oh, Eugene's son, and give me money, and I'd come home to my mother, and she'd find the knot of money, and, "Oh, you're bringing him to the fucking card game, like on the weekend he's supposed to be staying with you, and you got him at the card game, So shit like that.
How would you describe your relationship with your parents? From some of the things that I've heard you say, it seems like you kind of had a very tumultuous relationship with your mom, but I don't really hear you talk about your dad as much.
Yeah. Well, listen, my dad always made me feel like his son and his pride and joy, and he was like he'd play the good guy, right? He would make me feel loved. I'd be with my father on the weekend. He'd pick me up. He'd take me to like the video store, the baseball card store, buy me baseball cards, buy me. Oh, you want that Don Mattingly card? It was Don Mattingly was my favorite player. Get that. You get the iron on. You do the good things that a dad should do with his son. Play catch for 20 minutes with me, and then be like, all right, I gotta go to the card game now, and like and then some guy from the card game will come out and play catch with me. Like probably some guy who's a connected dude who I didn't even know at the time was, and some fucking made man is teaching me how to throw a curveball. So I had that connection with him, but he was very into what he was doing. But then at night he'd take me to Whitestone in Queens, from Brooklyn to Whitestone, and with his he remarried, got with the new chick that he was with, and he stayed with her for 40 something years, and her son her son would stay with her father on the weekend, so I was able to stay in his room on that Saturday night, right? And then me and my father would bond. We'd watch a boxing match and we'd watch movies or something like that together. But it was. So I always thought growing up that my father was the good guy, when my mother was the disciplinarian and the Sicilian strict mother who went through hell, being a single mother working 2-3 jobs. But I rebelled because she was always disciplining me.
Mm.
So I get that. I get that now. I get that now that she went through fucking hell. And my father, I would come home with not a money in my pocket from his friends and thing, but then my father might not pay child support that way. Maybe that happened. And my mother would be like, yo, what's up? Chris needs this, that. So I had hand-me-downs. I had, all sorts of shit when I should have had more. If my father wasn't doing good gambling that week, she might not have got child support. But if he had a good week and he hit the number or something like that, she might get 500. So it was very, it was. But my dad, I love my dad. We talk baseball every fucking. So anytime I spoke to my dad, it was something I liked. Anytime I spoke to my mother, it was usually disciplinary in school. You got to do this, you got to do that, you got to. It's like disciplining me. So obviously I rebelled. I didn't want to hear that shit. As a kid, I want to go out. Now she had me also, because of working 3 jobs, I was a private babysitter for my little brother. I never resented my little brother. I loved him. But I resented my mother for making me babysit when I wanted to go do whatever I wanted to fucking do. You know what I mean? And then once I became 16, I had my own crew and shit in the street, and we're bad kids. We ended up being tough, bad kids that did a lot of bad shit, but we were also respectful to elders in the neighborhood. We were kind of raised with the same discipline, strict maybe Italian parents or whoever. Like I had obviously Puerto Ricans in my crew and different people in my crew, but it was very very much like 80s dads and 80s moms. So they were strict, or they were from broken homes, and they were those. So all the kids were a little fucked up in the head. So and then we came up in a time of like those type of movies. Okay, we're going into the video store. We're like our older cousins renting whatever the fuck we want to rent. So at 8 years old, I'm going over Anthony's house and we're watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or I'm going over my father. My father drops me off by my uncle's house, and my uncle, from being out all night, is sleeping all day in the bedroom, and I'm in his living room watching WrestleMania 2 tapes and jumping off the fucking chairs. And then the next thing I'm watching is 3 on a meat hook with people getting chopped up to bits and putting on, girls getting put on meat hooks naked. So, and I'm 8 years old. So I'm getting exposed to all this type of stuff. But I love being with my dad because I couldn't do that with my mom. Couldn't do that shit. I was able to do all the taboo shit.
I saw in your bio on your website, it said you experienced inhumanity firsthand at a young age. What did you mean by that?
So people getting killed, like fucking jumped, beat downs, like just whether we don't want to incriminate ourselves with anything, like on live.
Right, absolutely.
Like but my crew, sometimes we had to do what we had to do, So it's just, I look at it like that now. I maybe karma, like sometimes karma takes over and things happen, and maybe the struggles in your life, or maybe me not being where I want to be with certain things, even in hip hop. Well, maybe it's because every time I do something good, maybe something bad happens, and I feel like that's the constant um, good and evil and the chi of life. So a lot of the things we did growing up, we might have learned our lessons for. We might have did things we're not proud of now, or stuff that maybe I wouldn't take back because it made me who I am now. And I feel like I'm a man with convictions now. So and I'm raising my daughter the right way. So but yeah, I mean, we did a lot of fucking crazy shit, and we've seen a lot of crazy shit. And we've seen people die. We've seen it's just shit
And
like that.
we definitely don't want you to talk about, anything incriminating, of course, you know what I'm saying? That's not to get down over here at all.
Yeah, there was a
But,
lot of there
to
was a lot of violence.
witness those type of things though,
Well,
it's very traumatizing, especially for someone at a young age, learning how to process that kind of thing, right?
so it's a different. Every decade is kind of a different. It changes drastically from decade to decade. As you can see, like you ever see these memes on Instagram and wherever, like, oh, '90s kids be like, or '80s kids be like this, and then like
Right.
and they show how like the different like reactions and mannerisms of different people from different decades. And we grew up in the 70s and 80s fucked up. With broken homes, a lot of violence, a lot of dads not being there or abusive dads. My dad wasn't abusive to he was very respectful and never hit a woman. But a lot of people in my neighborhood, you'd see that. The mothers all beat up. The kids all beat up. Kid would come out with a broken arm on some shit. We're like, what happened? I fell. My name is Luca type shit, like the song.
Right.
The abusive shit. And then this, like I said, the kids would come out and have issues that they never were. It wasn't like nowadays. They would just put them on Prozac or they put them on fucking some kind of, Ritalin or they get therapy. Nobody had money for fucking psychiatrists. So these kids would get psychopaths roaming the streets. The little psycho kids, brewing psycho kids, hurting animals, doing shit. And that's that dude in the neighborhood. There goes Zach. Stay away from fucking Zach. He's a psycho. He cut off his fucking boa constrictor's head. Wild shit like that. We weren't in a rich neighborhood. So we were like, it was borderline. So we had the one mob family on the corner that had this nice house with gates and shit like that, and then everybody else was like, lower. And then like down the block was Left Rack City. So we go to the Queen Center Mall to get starter caps, and we'd have to deal with people trying to rob us. On some 13-year-old kids from Left Rack with guns, so trying to rob you for your starter jacket. So like crazy shit. And bro, I'm gonna tell you straight up. I've been in knife fights, like all sorts of crazy, wild shit over people trying to rob, people trying to think like people thinking that was that shit was sweet, whatever, and wild stuff. Like I was in a box cutter fight one time where this kid pulled out those orange box cutters. I think he was a Latin King. He had the beads on. I don't know if I don't want to misspeak. I don't know if it was Latin Kings, Nietas. It was one of these dudes with the beads on and shit. And he tried to rob me by the overpass for my like Jansport backpack, right? and he pulled out a box cutter, and I put my hands up. I was actually I was learning how to box at the time, and I was able to move away and stuff. But he caught me on my pinky because my hands were up, and I didn't even know I was cut, and the fucking blood was squirting out like crazy. And I was like, oh shit, because when you get cut with a box cutter, you don't really feel it. Your adrenaline's going, and all of a sudden you see blood squirting out everywhere. So I was able to snap off a car antenna, like the old school car antennas, like from the Oldsmobile, like the metal car antenna. So I'm backing up, moving out of the way from this fucking box cutter, and I snap off the car antenna. And now I got like a range weapon that's like a whip, And I'm fighting this fucking guy, and he's trying to stab me with the box cutter or slice me, and I'm hitting him on the fucking knuckles of the hand that has the box cutter, and I'm whipping him with the car antenna. And I noticed that like now he ain't trying to fucking attack me no more. You know what I mean? He's getting whipped with this thing on his hand, and I was just using my environment and fighting. And then he was like, yo, you got it. That was like a term back in the day where like, you won. I ain't trying to fight
Right.
you. You got it. And I'm like, yeah, well then get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Like, like back up. So it was like I I was put in that situation. I had to do what I had to do, and and then I started making homemade weapons, and I used to tie souvlaki skewers. You know what a souvlaki skewer is? I don't know
Yeah.
if you know what that is. So it's got the hole in it with the metal rod, and it's a pin at the end, and I'd fucking attach it to like a chain with two of them and swing that shit around like a medieval weapon. So a motherfucker would come out, I'd have that shit on my belt, and I'd pull it out. What the fuck did you say? And I fucking swing the shit around and catch you and chop your shit. So and they knew. People started to know, like, man, this guy's don't fuck with him. He's gonna you're gonna get hit with something. A meat cleaver. He's carrying shit. And he's not afraid to get you. I'm gonna catch you with it. So I went from an outgoing kid that wanted to play with everybody. Yo, go play with that kid. Like as we alluded to earlier, go play. Go make friends. Go make friends. And you try to make friends, and they're psychos, and they want to bully you, or they're friends with you because their friends aren't around. And in a minute their friends come, they beat the shit out of you, and they start fucking with you. It's like I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? We were just playing. We were playing GI Joe, and your friend came over, and now you're breaking my GI Joe. Like, what the fuck is going on? And I couldn't make sense of it. So I started to get angry, chip on my shoulder. And then, and also I knew from my father, don't rat, like don't be a rat. So I'd hold all of it in. And then eventually I started getting a lot of respect in the street for holding my own and standing up to these fucking guys. And they'd be like, oh, Chris is crazy. Chris is crazy. And I'm like, nah, I'm not really crazy. I'm just standing up for myself and standing up for you, you fucking pussy. If everybody would stand up for ourselves, we have 15 of us now. We all played baseball together. Get the baseball team and we'll all beat the shit out of them with baseball bats. And we'll see if they're going to keep fucking with us. But they wouldn't do it. They would run. And we'd divide. And that's how big government divides and conquers. They separate us through fucking propaganda, racism, different fucking things. If they could separate us and make us hate each other and think that we're so different, that's how they fucking take over. So I was always like, no, if we separate, we're weak. But you know what? I won't be weak if we separate. I'm going to be by myself and I'll stand on my own too. If they fuck me up, they fuck me up. Then kill me then. Whatever. Then maybe that'll make the difference. Maybe all you guys will fucking know. Maybe we should have stuck together because now we lost our strongest fucking link. Because Hyde, Chris got killed in the heat of battle sticking up for us because we were too pussy. So I don't know. I had a warped way of thinking. I have a warped way of thinking when I write my music. I have a warped way of thinking when I think outside the box a little bit. But a lot of people think I'm crazy, and I don't believe I'm crazy. I have my views. I stand by them, and I'm very steadfast when it comes to that type of shit. I'm very stubborn. They say old school Italian, Sicilian. Stunad is a thing, and stubborn, like being a bull, you fuck with the bull, get the horns type thing. I was very butt heads. If you don't agree with and my mom was like that, and my dad was like that. If you don't agree, we're going to just keep butting heads until somebody fucking goes backwards. So, and that's why when you were talking about, the thing with my mom, and that's what we did. We butt heads until I had to leave the house. It became bad and not good for my little brother and not a good influence for my little brother. So, we agreed to for me to live in a car for a while. It was, I was 16 years old and I couldn't even drive it. And I bought a $500 car from my cousin and I was delivering pizza with a driver's permit. It was an old Italian dude who owned the pizza place and I had to make some money. So he was like, give me your driver's license. So I gave him the permit and he photocopied it and didn't even look that it was a permit. So I'm delivering fucking pizza, making money in a car with no license and no insurance, just a car I bought from my cousin who gave it to me, signed the title over with no license, no insurance, and a driver's permit, delivering pizza, making $500 on a weekend on a Friday, like delivering pizza. That's how sick shit was. And obviously doing other stuff like, other stuff that we want to incriminate to make money.
Right. So you've been on record saying that you have a demented brain, like everything you see, you have a demented view on it, right? Like you were talking about earlier, you have like a warped sense of reality. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, I'm very exploitational, and I find things funny that are outside the box, right? So I was brought up on on humor. Like the typical just bubblegum humor ain't gonna make me laugh really. Like really strike a nerve with me. So the stuff that'll strike a nerve with me is movies like The Toxic Avenger, when it's so outlandish and so crazy. Like a lot of these low budget B movie exploitation flicks where the criminals and the bad guys and the goons and the villains. You know, you remember Goodfellas? Like this guy, he rooted for the bad guys in the movie. So I was very
Right.
similar to that. I was cheering when Leatherface would cut people to pieces. I'm like, yeah, cut that bitch in half. I wanted to see the gore and the shit. I was not happy like at the end of the flick if they got over on Michael Myers, and I don't want Jason to die. I wanted the killing to continue. So I was just one of those kids. I enjoyed it, and me and my friends we get kicks out of it. We watch it together and be like, yeah, look how he killed that one. He punched through her head. Yes, whatever the fuck it was, right? Or Toxic Avenger would smush the guy's head and would explode with the prosthetic makeup, and we were blown away by it. We're kids. We would watch Faces of Death, which was like this taboo video series where you weren't supposed to watch it if you weren't. It was like NC-17, and they would depict real deaths on film. So they would go to different countries, and certain things would pop up on film. You'd have these I don't know, explorers or whoever in the Amazon, and like some fucking monkey would get killed, and they would have it on camera, and they would put it in, compile it in these videos called Faces of Death, and then somebody would jump off some idiot kid would jump off a ceiling, a roof with a bungee cord, and didn't account for the 13th floor not being there, and the bungee cord was too long, and would smash on the floor, and they had it on film, and you see the guy's brain splatter on the floor. And as kids were eating pizza, watching this, building up a tolerance and immunity for violence, and thinking that it was cool. So it's lack of supervision too. Like I'm not letting my daughter watch that shit now. You learn from what you learn later on that shit wasn't cool. It affected your brain in a different way. So when I write or I create something, or even the movies that I choose to watch, I'll be watching some shit. My wife walks in from wherever, and I'm watching something crazy. Some low budget, nutty stuff, because I'm looking to dig for samples and stuff that that's going to inspire me to write and get into my Mr. Hyde mind state. And she'll walk in and she's like, "That's you. I'm good." I'm like, "Babe, you want to sit down and watch a flick with me? It's crazy." And she's like, "Nah, I'm good. You watch that. I'm going to bed." So like that type of shit.
Like you said, you're a parent now, and when you look back on the things that you were doing at such a young age, right? Does it trip you out when you look at your daughter and you think, "Damn, when I was this age, I was doing this"?
Yeah. Well, right. Well, she's only 5, right? So
Right.
at 5, I wasn't.
You said you were already punching people in the face at that age, pretty much, right?
Well, yeah. My first fight was I was probably 6, so I think it was second grade. This kid, I remember, now we get back into the melting pot. It was a Korean kid named Howard Cho, I think, some shit, right? So it was in second grade. This is a hilarious story. This is the first fight ever, second grade, and we're in gym class, and we're playing Duck Duck Goose. You familiar with Duck Duck Goose?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're familiar.
Yeah.
So this kid was like a heavy set Korean kid, big, and we're sitting in a circle in gym. It's like recess or whatever the fuck it was, and he's going around, duck, 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 and every time he would say goose, he'd pick me for some fucking reason and punch me and go goose. So he's just doing duck, 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 and why? I'm the goose that you punch, like you're picking me. So you know what I'm saying? So it would be me every time he'd punch me. So the first time I'd be like, whatever, and I get up and I'm gonna goose and I'm doing it, and I sit back and every time it was his turn, he punched me again. So I got up when I was waiting for him the next time to do it. I was like, all right, the next time he does it, I made the deductive reasoning in my head. The next time he does it, I'm gonna get up and punch him in his face. And so he did goose, and I jumped up and I punched him right in the bridge of his nose, where my father told me to do. People put their hands on you.
The
so
one-hitter quitter.
Yeah, so I punched him dead in his face. I didn't know how to punch yet, really, but I hit him pretty hard, and he was bleeding from his nose, and it was a big, cause second grade, my mother had to come to school, my father had to come to school, and like the kid bled a lot. Like he kept bleeding for some reason. I don't know if it's a hemophilia. I dealt with a couple. I punched so many people that there was a few there's a few hemophiliacs mixed in there. Kids be having hemophilia, like some weird shit. Like, oh, don't hit Greggy. He's got hemophilia. He'll never stop bleeding. You can kill him. Wacky shit, right? So and then of course I hit Greggy and he kept bleeding, and I'm in trouble. And my father's having to sit down with Greg's father and. Like, oh, my son didn't know he had hemophilia. Like, wild shit. That fun stories. I got stories on top of stories where if I don't even bother telling them anymore because I feel like, one, it's glorifying violence, and I don't really want to do that in public and civilization. Like, my music is an outlet, and I do it, and my fans love it.
It's different.
It's an art. It's an outlet. So Tarantino's making a flick, and he's glorifying violence in Pulp Fiction and the Mondo scenes and the goonism and the characters that come out, and he's exemplifying and embellishing characters that might hit home to us because we know goons like that. We might have seen a Ving Rhames character in our neighborhood from Pulp Fiction, that type of dude, no nonsense. You know what I mean? Like, or whatever. So, or mob dudes like that are portrayed in Goodfellas. You knew that dude who worked in the fucking the car. He owned the car wash, but he was a mob guy, and everybody knew it. So you get shit like that. But yeah, so I kind of lost track, but the my daughter thing, right? So
Right.
I tried. She knows my music, so I actually have a funny video of her breakdancing to my new single. She's a goon. She's learning very quickly sarcasm and like my attitude, and she's kind of like we're twinning in a lot of ways because I let her watch Daddy, I want to watch a spooky movie, but I'm not going to show her Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I might show her Jaws and watch it with her and tell her, listen, cover your eyes, or whatever. If we need to cover your eyes or if we need to stop it, you let me know. We'll stop it. My mother gets pissed off. My wife gets pissed off that I'm watching Jaws with her. But, I'm not going to say no to her. I'm like, all right, Jaws ain't that bad. And at least it teaches her that like, don't go too deep in the water and watch the sharks.
Right.
I'm in Florida now. So have a healthy fear for sharks. Because if you go swimming and, you're playing around and maybe my wife or I don't look at you for a second and you're in the fucking deep water, whatever. You're running into into the ocean. So it's a healthy fear. Watch Jaws. And then we'll watch something like Beetlejuice, right? So Beetlejuice is a little scary, for a little kid, but it's funny, and Michael Keaton was dope. And we watched Beetlejuice 1 and 2. I put her on, so I'll show her like the old school classics. My mother is next level. She'll make her watch like Mighty Joe Young, the black and white shit, King Kong, the black and white shit that she grew up on. So she'll, And then one of the funniest stories is I had her watching the first horror flicks. I had her watching was King Kong, the black and white, Wolfman, the original Wolfman with Lon Chaney Jr., black and white, but the old school effects with it, like the imaging and you see the wolf changing like from frame to frame. And she loved it. And she would be like, "Oh, Daddy," and she's 3 years old. "Daddy, I want to watch the Wolfman, the Wolfman, the Wolfman." And my mother would be like, and my wife would be like, "Not before bed," like at least, because she knows that they know that I'm gonna let her watch the Wolfman, so they can't stop it. Because I'm gonna be like, that's my dope daughter. She wants to watch the Wolfman. I'm watching it with her. Let's watch the fucking Wolfman. And then later on, I remember. Here's a funny story. Me and my wife. My wife does music too. So we're at the Dragon's Lair recording studio where we record music and stuff like that. Shout out to my engineer, Multiple Blast Off, my friend engineer, for years makes the Mr. Hyde music sound incredible. So we're there and we're staying for the weekend. And we brought my daughter, and she's like 3 at the time, right? So she's asleep, and it's like 9:30 at night, asleep, and he's like, "Yo," talking loud. We're hanging out, him and his wife, and me and my wife, and we're friends. And after the studio session, we're chilling, we're talking loud, and I'm like, "Yo, if you talk any louder, Angelina, my daughter's gonna come out of the room." And be like, yo, what's up, motherfuckers? Let's watch the Wolfman. My daughter's gonna be like, so what's good? Y'all partying? You talking loud up in here? Let's watch the Wolfman. So my daughter don't want to go to sleep. So they realized, like, oh shit, that's right. Angelina's gonna be on some. I'm staying up all night with y'all, and we're gonna watch horror movies, and we'll be stuck watching, a marathon of black and white horror movies. So and not doing our adult, whatever we're doing. So it's dope now to have that 5-year-old daughter who's already smart, already knows how to manipulate and get over. Like she'll ask my wife for something, she'll say no, and my wife will go in the bedroom and then she'll come to me and ask me for the same thing, and I'll give it to her because she knows daddy's a little more like yeah you can have that, go ahead, cool, yeah, oh yeah, all right. So and then vice versa, whatever it is. I'm a health nut. I'm all about health. So she might give her soda, right? And then this is how fucked up my daughter is. My daughter is such a little scumbag that she'll ask me for soda, and I'll say no, drink water. And then she'll go. I'll leave the house or something, and then she'll ask my wife for it, and my wife will drink Pepsi, right? So she'll give her a little sip of Pepsi. Then I'll come home, and she'll rat out my wife. She'll say, "Daddy, Mommy gave me soda." Because she knows that I'm gonna go tell Karine. I'm gonna tell my wife, like, yo, you gave her soda after I said no. What are you doing? Don't give her soda. She's gonna. So but she likes it. She wants to play us against each other.
Right.
To see what's up.
Do you remember when you fell in love with hip hop?
I do. That's a good thing to bring up. So I was probably in junior high school, because we came up. You might hear Necro talk about this stuff too. In the 80s in New York, being the melting pot that it was, we'd have the music melting pot too. So the dope music at the time would be all different stuff. So you'd have Run DMC, Rakim, Cool G Rap, that type of stuff, which was the really dope shit. Big Daddy Kane, and then you'd have Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth, that type of stuff. Then you'd have the 80s freestyle music, Silent Morning, and the culture from my background a little bit. I'd have Italian kids that were like, yo, turn that fucking rap crap off and put on TKA, right? So there'd be the older Italian crew and they'd be like, yo, you gotta rock the TKA shit. The girls like that, we're dancing, and they'd be kick dancing and doing all sorts of shit. I'm like, yo, but there's break dancing too, and and there's headbangers too, listening to Metallica, and that shit was dope. So I was kind of like in that melting pot of music too. But I remember going to junior high school, and the influence of hip hop at that time, when I was like 12, let's say, was so crazy, because you had like that 1991, 92 movement of hip hop where it was bubbling. And one of the songs was like Dwick, right, with a Gangstar and Nice and Smooth and Primo beat and Just to Get a Rep, things like that would be popping on the radio. Ill Street Blues, and these songs, they might be considered obscure or underground, like or that type of thing, but they weren't, because they were on the radio and on like the box, video music box, things like that. So they were getting burned back then, and those were more rugged street hip hop, raw type tracks with dope beats and dope, like NWA was just budding at that time. And I remember just how dope the influence was, and how it changed everybody, and when it was like a new sound, and it spoke to my rebellious youth. It kind of spoke to me in that way, and it just changed me. From that moment on, I was kind of hip hop. Even though I grew up metal and all different things, and I love Metallica and I love the aggressiveness, so I had the chip on my shoulder and I had the aggressiveness of Slayer and Megadeth and that type of stuff that I liked. And then, but there was no aggressiveness and chip on your shoulder more than the Cool G Rap, NWA, Ghetto Boys, that type of shit. Just like that was just more like, you know what? Fuck it all. I'm gonna do my thing type shit. And it's okay.
Hip hop as a genre fit more of the environment that you were growing up in.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And what was going on, and everybody, it encompassed everybody. So the Latinos, the blacks, the Italians, the Italian kids were rocking Gangstar, Run DMC. They were running around singing word for word Run DMC shit. So the Guineas, and then oddly enough, they'd be racist. So, and I'd be like, how the fuck are you gonna call them moolies and this and that, and you're rocking their music and you love it and you're right? I didn't get it. I just, it didn't equate for me.
That's
just
always
didn't get it.
confused me, where like you can appreciate someone's art, but you don't like them as people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just really weird to
Well,
me.
that's fine, but no, as people, if you met the motherfucker. So
No, I mean
if
like as a
if
group of
Reverend
people, as a
Run,
race,
if
that's just weird.
if you met right people up people right. If Reverend Run
Right.
met a little white kid in the street and kicked him in his nuts when he met him, hey, you little white kid, and kicked you, and I got kicked in the nuts by Reverend Run. I'd be like, oh fuck that dude, he's an asshole. Maybe it might
Right.
change my perception of his music and whatever. But you love the guy's music. He's dope. He's on TV. He's doing his thing. Like I don't know. I don't know. Now it's different. Maybe Public Enemy or groups that were very political and pro-black and this and that. Maybe we didn't relate to them as much as white white little fucking thugs. Or now we'll be called guests in hip hop, right? So which
Right.
is hilarious to me because hip hop's a culture and it's a fucking music and a way. So you forget the 5 elements of hip hop, motherfucker, right? The 5 elements of hip hop are graffiti, breakdancing, producing, MCing, obviously. So like all these elements of hip hop. And who gives a fuck about color? You're telling me an artist who does graffiti and he's not black, he's a guest in hip hop? Go do your fucking research and find out where hip hop was invented and what are the 5 elements of hip hop and what the fuck it means. You know what I mean? If you throw up a fucking dope tag on the wall and you're black, dope. And you throw up a dope tag and you're fucking Chinese, that's dope. What difference is it? Does art have color? Only on the wall it does. You know what I mean? It's just dope. Dope is dope. I don't care. Dope is dope. Like you hear a song on the radio, and it's Al Green, and and you're racist. You're gonna tell me that song ain't dope? Like it's like that didn't come from somebody who's a genius. So I mean, I just don't. I'm not into it. I'm not into the fucking. It's just bullshit. I'll debate someone till the end. That
Let me
this
play
black guy.
devil's advocate on that. Let me play devil's advocate on that because I know people in the comments, they're gonna be, you know what I mean? It's gonna be a very like controversial back and forth kind
Yeah.
of topic, right?
Yeah. I
So
don't care. I'll debate anybody.
yeah,
You can play devil's
yeah.
advocate. I'm cool with it. Go ahead, bring it
So
up.
for that situation, do you understand, like, from I guess the black perspective of black people feeling like, we created so many different genres of music and it always seems to get exploited or whitewashed by the major corporations and taken over to the point that it's like we're not recognized for that. Do you understand, I guess, maybe that sentiment of why there's a sensitivity of feeling like other people that are not black are guests in hip hop?
So what? What if a black guy opens up a pizza store, a pizza place, and it's good? The pizza's fucking good. I'm going to eat the pizza. It's good. It's the best pizza on the block. It's run by a black guy. It's the best. Al Green is the best. I'm listening to it. Curtis Mayfield is the best. I'm listening to it. I don't give a fuck that he's black. It's what I want. So don't tell me, you know what I mean? Like, don't tell me. That's how I feel. I don't care about all that shit. Don't be so close-minded. We didn't do that to you. Mr. Hyde, Mr. Hyde did not appropriate your fucking music, bro. I love your music that hip hop was invented by. You know what I mean? Like, you love pizza. You might say pizza in your rhymes, black man, right? You might, and you know what I'm saying, right? You might say that, and if I don't care. Raekwon, who we met, who was mad cool with us and shouted us out, right? He'd be dropping mob shit, and they changed their names to Mob Gambino type, like aliases and shit. And they're dropping all this shit, noodles, this, that. That's all Italian fucking culture shit, you know. So you're taking that and you're making it dope. So do it. We love it. We love Raekwon. We love Wu-Tang. We love you take whatever. Hip hop is about sampling. Where did you take your shit from? You didn't take any break beats from any white artists? Debate me that. All the fucking hip hop that came out over the years, the creators, they didn't take anything that was loops from a dope white musician?
How do you feel? Because, like, when I interviewed Necro, right?
No. Wait, no. Answer.
What?
Answer. Answer me. Was hip hop the earliest hip hop? Was it all sampled from
No,
black?
it wasn't. It wasn't
Like
sampled
the
from all
breakbeat?
black artists.
Okay. So hip hop is borrowed. Hip hop, in its essence, as far as music, is a borrowed thing. It's borrowed from the artist that created shit from before. That's a dope breakbeat, or that's a dope whatever, right? So it's a borrowed thing as it is. So hey man, if I take the ingredients and the recipe for collard greens, people are gonna get fucking pissed in the comments, right? They're gonna get pissed, right? So my wife, who's from French Quebec, from French Canada, um, and French speaking from Quebec, and one of her favorite foods is collard greens and oxtail, and she loves it. And so she gets it and she eats it and she loves it, and she's like, she looks like Snow White. You know what I mean? Like so it's just funny. It's like and if she can flip it and cook it and make it and it's dope, and my black friends come over and eat it and love it, what's the fucking problem? I come over to a black family's house and they made pizza and it's fucking banging. I was like, yo, that pizza's fucking banging. I was like, give me your recipe. That's it. And guess what? My music is so fucking banging and I'm not giving you my recipe. So eat that.
What I was saying was with Necro, when I interviewed him, he had said, is Wu-Tang not appropriating Chinese culture or Asian culture?
Well, Asian too, yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
So
that's a valid point.
that's what he was saying, that was he had asked that. And I guess you do make a good point that hip hop is, sampling is a very big thing, right? And it's
Nothing
borrowed
is
from other
completely
places.
original. Nothing is completely original. It's taken from somewhere. It's influenced from somewhere. Why do you think they always say, who are your biggest influences? Right? So what does it mean? You become the product of your environment. You become the product of what your parents taught you. We're going back to the beginning of this, right? Where I spoke about the deer wandering into the fucking lion's den and doesn't know to be afraid of the lion, right? Just looks cool. Hey, I'm gonna hang out with you, lion. You look pretty cool. It's the same thing, bro. This breakbeat is cool. I don't care who fucking made the breakbeat. It's dope. Don't care. Don't care what color you are. It's dope. I like it. I'm gonna create something over it. The canvas. Do you care? An artist cares who made the wall. If it was a construction guy who's black, he's gonna throw up on the wall. Throw up his bubble fucking tag on the wall. It's a dope wall. Perfect backdrop for my shit. I don't care who made the wall. Could have been an Italian construction worker. Could have been. I don't know. That's how I look at it. I look at it like that. It's all taken from all over the place.
I think that when you grow up in a very diverse place like New York, California, or something like that, where you have all these races that are together, it's very difficult for you to not be influenced by each other, right? We all take from each other in some kind of way. But like when you're talking about maybe the South, other places where it's more like divided, where it's just black and white, a lot of those things creep back into the argument of like division. It's like us versus them kind of thing,
Okay, so check it. That's their experiences. And I would never take that away from them. That's their struggle. We're talking about my personal struggles growing up, and what every situation is relative to you and your struggles coming up. Maybe those people dealt with racism non-fucking stop, generation after generation, and their grandparents dealt with fucking hell from slave owners or whoever the fuck it was, right? I empathize and I get it, but I didn't do that to you. I'm not. I think outside the box, and I'm different. So that's not. I ain't trying to own fucking any slaves of any fucking. I'm do it yourself. I'm to a fault where I don't hire people and interns and people to work for me because I want it done my way, and I'm a perfectionist, and I've had it before, and they're lazy, and whatever. Like people, they didn't get my brand right, or they didn't understand my brand, or they didn't understand me, or they Mr. Hyde what I'm trying to do. So I do it myself, and I keep myself a little bit more, smaller. I still mail out my own orders to my fans and sign the shit organically. You order a Mr. Hyde hat from my website, right? MrHydePLR.com. Fucking shameless promotion. I'll sign the brim and send it to you. It's me. It's me doing it. You might even get it with a little bit of fucking cat hair or something on it. Then it makes it authentic. So because it came from my crib. But you know what I'm saying? I'm not. That's not my experience. My experience growing up was not that. So your experience, you had that, and I feel for your pain and your family's pain and whatever you dealt with. I empathize with it, and now you are a product of that. So you could have your your preemptive thoughts about white people and whatever you might think. But maybe I don't fucking know. Maybe my great 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 grandfather was racist. Maybe. I don't fucking know. I never met the guy. So maybe he was in Italy and he didn't like black people. Maybe. I never met him. It never got taught to me. Whatever. But maybe your great 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 grandfather did some fucked up shit to a white person. Maybe. I don't know. So you don't know. It's just so.
Do you think
Yeah, go ahead.
do you think more of the issue comes into the conversation of who invented the genre versus who contributed, like the whole FBA thing?
Um, who so clarify. Who contributed, or
Because
who created, or who contributed?
it seems like there's a lot of conversation around, okay, as black people, we invented this genre, right? And everyone else is a contributor along the way over time, but your opinions, your views, different things like that are not as important in this genre because we are the inventors of it. Do you see what I'm saying? Because it seems like that's a lot of the sentiment surrounding the conversation.
You're important to the genre if you create classic catalog and you have fans. You can't tell me that my music is not important to my fans who message me every day saying that my music has helped them deal with suicidal thoughts, deal with. I get messages all the time. All the time. My inbox. I answer 300 DMs a day over all the different social medias.
Wow.
So if I'm not important and my music is not important, how did it save lives and change people's lives? I get these type of messages all the time. Sometimes I post them on my Instagram in the comments once in a while. I don't like to air out people's stuff,
Right.
but I'll do it. And music is therapeutic. The music that get created wherever it came from definitely helped the artist that created it and helped the people around them get through tough times. Right? So all the negative that I might portray in my music, look at it. It might just be, and it was. I'm saying it might be, like figuratively, but it was a release for me. I may talk about horror shit because this and that, so I don't have to do it because I'm in a fucking mood right now where I want to do it. So it might have been a release for me. The aggression of metal, the aggression of NWA, what they were dealing with, fuck the police, right? They were dealing with that. They didn't go around killing cops because they wouldn't be here right now. They were doing that, right? But they're saying it in the fucking music because it's a fucking release to get it out. I gotta say it and put it out there and this and that. Like, yeah, I'll murder a motherfucking cop because he just bashed my little brother's head in for no reason because he's a racist fucking scumbag cop, right? So he needs to get that out. We need to get out what we need to get out, and that's what the art form is. It's expressionism. So if you put a painting on the wall that looks crazy and looks violent, maybe he's a tortured soul and needed to put that out, so he don't do it. And he don't do so these messages that I'm getting and I'm helping them, it's therapeutic. Music is therapeutic. And if I'm doing that for people, giving them positivity, my music makes you want to work out, it makes you want to go to the gym, it makes you want to, get positive. Then when they message me and they find out that I'm straight edge and I never did a drug in my life, and I run my own boxing program, and just they find out all this positivity shit, right? And I go, my favorite artist doesn't smoke weed, or my favorite artist, not that weed is bad. I'm just saying my favorite artist doesn't drink. I'm not saying that it's bad to not knock a few back, whatever, with your peoples. But so I don't want drink kings mad at me. Drinking is okay socially, doing whatever the fuck you got to do. But just for me, I'm very straight edge. But one of the reasons I say it in one of my rhymes, I say I haven't started drinking. I'm afraid of results. So like if I drink, I don't know what the fuck I might become. I don't know. It might change the way I am, and the happy-go-lucky Hyde might turn a different way. You know, like give me some Hennessy. Who knows? Who knows what the fuck might happen? So my wife was like, "Do me a favor. Don't drink. Don't do any kind of fucking mind-altering drugs because the area might not feel safe." So who knows? You know. So I'm just saying, like, when the fans find out about me, these little things, they might be surprised. I get kids on tour that offer me drugs all the time, and I'm like, you know what? I'm good. You know, do you, but be careful. You know what I mean? Like, don't, you know. So, and they're like, what? What do you mean? And I'll talk to them, and they'll be like, it might stick in their head. My favorite artist is like trying to get me off drugs, and be like, maybe you shouldn't do that shit. And just, you know, so it's just, I don't know. I just feel like there's all different ways to think about stuff, and if you're going to be closed-minded and stubborn about something, you might not open yourself up to other experiences and other dope things. So you might be missing out on if you listen to nothing but country music and you don't like black culture and you're missing out. I'm telling you right now, you're missing out on Marvin Gaye, on whatever, Barry White. You're missing out on a lot of dope shit. It's just dope shit over the years. And you love music, but you only like that. You're missing out. So if you
Right.
never heard a Mr. Hyde song, you're probably missing out. You didn't get to expand your mind in that
What
way,
would you
in that realm.
what would you say the demographics of your fans are? Are they mainly white? Because I see a lot of conversation like over someone like Eminem. People say, "Oh, as black people or people in the hood, we don't listen to Eminem. We appreciate his lyricism, but we don't listen to him."
Okay, because it doesn't speak to that person. We is relative, man. I think secret. If you're admiring his lyricism, right? If you're admiring his lyricism, that means you listened. You don't listen to Eminem? How the fuck do you know his lyrics are good then? You listened. You listened, and it might not be cool. It might not be cool to tell your boy who you grew up with who doesn't like white people that you rock Eminem because you know you're going to get conflict. Maybe you're going to get conflict. That might be not the cool thing. But they listened and they respected, and they're like, yo, this guy flips his flows. He's dope. Regardless of what you think of Eminem, if I think Eminem is a pussy, whatever. I don't. If I think of Eminem as a fucking drug addict, if I think of, like, these are the things they might say about Eminem. Let's just say, right, like, whatever, like the pros and cons of everybody. You don't like him as a person, but we got back to it, right? We're gonna get back to just because someone does this or someone does that, or they do you like their music? Do you like it? You listened. If you know his lyrics are good, you fucking listened. And probably deep down, you're like, oh, that shit was dope. That shit was dope. But it's not the cool thing to get together with a group of people who might be hood and be like, nah, this is cool to listen to the Locks, let's just say, or whoever you're listening to that you might think is hood and speaks to you. You might relate with that more. You might not relate to the dope Eminem flipping flows and lyricism because maybe that's not what you came up listening to and that's not your environment, right? Maybe you didn't like Rakim. Maybe you were more NWA, Public
Public
Enemy,
Enemy.
more political, more political, right? Public Enemy, more political, and maybe that's what you came up listening to. You'd be like, yeah, I don't like all that rah crazy shit of Redman. Let's say Redman was like, oh wow, rah crazy, mad personality. Redman is, I love Redman. So, and I could, and here's the difference. The same way you said you respect the lyricism, I respect the personality, the flamboyancy, the in your face type style of Redman. He might not be my number one favorite artist that I relate with number one, but as a music listener and as a fucking hip hop really connoisseur, if you would ask me my knowledge on hip hop, I'm gonna put a lot of these people who are closed minded in a box to shame because I know a lot about fucking hip hop. So and people's art, listening to their whole album from beginning to end. You might know Redman's biggest song, but I know every song in his fucking album. Like, because I rocked it, I listened to it, and I rated it. I would go with my friends and be like, rate this song 1 to 10, rate this song 1 to 10, and then do an average and be like, this album is a 9 out of 10. Because I did an average of the 18 songs on his album, and it turned into a 9 or 9.2. right? So like that's how I analyzed hip hop. So unless you did that, and unless you were that deep into hip hop, if you're just a casual, that's like casual boxing fans being like, "Oh, Mike Tyson's whack." You didn't watch Mike Tyson coming up with Customato. You didn't. You're just a fucking casual fan who knows Mike Tyson and watched maybe the new Logan Paul shit and what happened and how he looked whack in that. Where could have might or might not been fixed, right? You might have just watched that, but you didn't see the come up. You didn't fucking analyze it coming up and peep it and be around that. So don't speak on it if you don't really fucking know and you didn't do the analyzation that it takes to so you know what I mean. So like you could argue. And Necro knows more about beats and music and shit than a lot of people, man. A lot of people. He's done the research. He respects the legends. He gives dap to whoever. He's just very. He feels like he don't get his due, and you know. Also, he's negative first. He's my best friend, and I'll be the first to say it. You can give him 175 compliments and you say one negative thing and he's going to focus on the negative thing. That's just the way he is. He's just fuck you mean. And his day will be, he'll be more aggressive and more annoyed about the bad thing and not look at the 175 fucking good things. You know, so he'll focus on that. But why is this one person not giving props? Because they're ignorant. Racism is ignorant. Thinking that music is not for everybody, or a type of music is not for everybody. If it speaks to you, it's for you. What? You're a person. It speaks to you. It's for you. You feel like having Chinese food tonight? Did they need Chinese food? It's for you.
It seems to me that like
For you. Chinese. Wait, hold on. Chinese people didn't come here and open up a fucking a Chinese restaurant to not make money and serve it to fucking white people and black people and fucking whoever. That's a customer, motherfucker. That's money. That's good. That's someone who's gonna come back over and over because the food is good. I'm gonna come back over and over and peep Redman's new album. I keep shouting out Redman. So Redman, let's do a song, right? So anyway, like over and over, whoever it is, I'm just using as an example. I don't care who it is, a black artist. Oh, I'm gonna listen to his album over and over because he gives me what I fucking want and what I need and the fix that I need with music. I know what I'm gonna get. I know that I'm gonna be like, oh shit, that's that Mobb Deep shit, or that's that shit that I want. What obviously you can see I'm passionate, and obviously
right. No, I
that,
understand.
that if you could debate me, fine. Debate me, play devil's advocate all you want, but I feel passionately about it, and I don't care. Do what you want, listen to what you want to listen to. It's for you. If you like it and it speaks to you, it's for you. You can't tell me don't do Brazilian jiu-jitsu, motherfucker, because I ain't Brazilian, right? Don't tell me that, because I'll put you in a fucking rear naked choke and crush your larynx right now and enjoy it with my music on in the background. So don't tell me. Right? So that's it. I'll jump out and spit a rhyme right now. Any motherfucker in the room jumps up and spits a rhyme, I'm gonna spit with you, bro. And my shit's gonna be real fucking fire. You know? I remember KRS-One said, right? So KRS-One, I'm gonna quote KRS-One here. KRS-One might or might not think that I'm a guest or not in hip hop, but I don't care. I'll quote KRS-One. And I believe he's smarter than everybody else. And I met KRS-One multiple times, and he was mad fucking cool. So, mad cool to me. Made me feel good meeting him. Slick Rick too. I'm gonna give shout out a lot of legends that were mad fucking cool. Cool G Rap, mad cool to me. When they say don't meet your legends, nah, that's not always true. Because we met some of our legends, and they made us feel fucking loved and respected. So I'm gonna quote KRS-One. He said, "A true MC, at any time you ask him to spit a rhyme, he's gonna be able to spit a rhyme. Because that's what he loves and that's what he does. He don't have to go to his fucking phone or his book or this and that. He's got some dope shit memorized, and he can just jump up and spit. Because that's the culture. If if it's something that you love, a baseball player who grew up playing baseball, and some dude, no matter what race you are, pulls out a glove and ball and says, let's have a catch. Kid's gonna be like, yo, I got my glove in the car right now. Let's go have a catch. Go out, boom, boom. We're gonna bond. We're gonna have a catch, right? You throw on some fucking Mobb Deep in the car, and I don't know who the fuck you are or what color you are, and I didn't see nobody. I walked in blind and got in your car, and you're playing some fucking Shook Ones or whatever the fuck it is. And I'm like, I already got a bond with whoever's in the car with me. I don't got to see what color he is. I already now we can talk for hours. So hey, I'm that dude. I'm that dude. So it is what it is. I don't care. Light up the comments. Here's the funniest fucking thing. I don't read the comments. I don't have the fucking time. Me, Hyde. I don't read my I don't read. I'll do this interview. I'm gonna go do what the fuck I gotta do. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to the boxing gym. I'm gonna go create a fucking song that my fans love. And I don't care if you think FBA. What is it? FUB. I don't even fucking know what the fuck it is. You think that I'm
Foundation
not
of Black
important?
Americans, FBA.
Right. I don't relate. It's not part of my world. So that ain't part of my world until you make it my world. Now the only way you can make it my world and you want to fuck with me is if you see me in person and talk that gibberish to me in person. And you see what you get then. You make it's it's overcast. You can get happy go lucky Hyde and be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Go have a Coke and a smile. I'm gonna quote Eddie Murphy, stand up, right? So Richard Pryor, tell Bill Cosby to go have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up, right? So tell me I can't curse on record. So I might tell you that, or I may rip your fucking eyes out of your head, depending on how you come at me. So it's my mood is. I said in a rhyme too. My mood is overcast, and it's true. Depends on what day you catch me. I may be in a good mood. You may catch me in a bad mood, and then it is what it is. You're gonna get what you're gonna get. You have a big smile on my face because violence starts to that speaks to me. So like hip hop speaks to me and things speak to me. When I start, I won't be able to stop because I love it. So
I don't
that's the
know.
type of psycho I am. So it is what it is. So all that nonsense and negativity that you fucking breeding in you and the hate that you keep breeding and whatever, come bring it over here. We'll see if we can't change that around for you. We change that around for you.
It seems like a lot of black rappers, they appreciate white rappers too, and they don't have any issues. Maybe it's just the comments and the people that are like, oh, we don't really rock with white rappers or something like that. Like,
They're faceless. Remember, their comments. Who are you? Who the fuck are you? I'm here. I'm here in your face, in live, in person. I'm able to put a face to it. I even respect. Listen, the Lord Jamar shit. I respect Lord Jamar in a way because he's first of all him with Brand Nubian. He made a lot of music I liked. So. And he's actually, whether I think the thinking is warped or ignorant or however I feel about it, right? He's at least coming out and saying how he feels. And he's putting a face to the name and he's doing whatever he's got to do. I kind of respect that. And I feel like that if I was in person with Lord Jamar, he might be real. He might be on some like, yeah, whatever then, what? He might do that. And then it'll be what it's going to be. But I'm just saying, like, he might be like, man, I have a vibe, maybe. Maybe not. Maybe not. Because I think if he watched this, he's gonna know that I don't got a problem. I don't got a problem putting hands on anybody. Like my hands are up and going crazy. So like I'm handsy. So it's like So I'm a very different type of person. You know how like people will be like, they'll see some trouble across the street, somebody fighting, slap boxing, or doing some shit, some hood shit, right? Some whatever. They're doing some hood shit. They slap boxing. They're doing this. They're doing that. And they might be hipsters, like these white hipsters, right? Whatever, with a frappuccino, whatever the fuck, and they're walking and they're like, oh, look at those guys across the street. They slap boxing. They slap boxing. What they out here trying to slap box and intimidate and do whatever the fuck they're doing, right? I'm gonna be walking down the street and be like, well, motherfuckers out here trying to slap box. Let's go. I'm gonna go over and make friends. I'll go over and make friends. I'm like, I got next. Let's get next. Let's put some music on. Let's see what's up. So I'm like that, and I was like that with hip hop. I was locked up in jail with all blacks, and by the end of my 6 months that I did in Nassau County Correctional, I was in a dorm of all like gang bloods, right? And shout out to a lot of the dudes that I came up with. I actually shouted them out on my first album because I wrote a lot of my first album locked up in jail, and all these black cats. Thugs that were locked up with me, my nickname was 8 Mile because at the time it was 2002 and
Right.
the movie had come out. So they 8 Mile, what's up 8 Mile? You know what I mean? Like what you wrote? Did you write something new? And they'd be outside my house. They'd call it your house. The doors, the gates would crack. Your thing would come open and they'd be come right over. What'd you write? Let's spit. The older black dudes, I'm keeping it real with you. The older black dudes that were there playing chess, there was like this fucking chess legend there. This older dude, he had gray hair and just dope, and he was respected. All he did was play chess. He called me over one time. He was like, "Yo, come over here." And I went over. I never spoke to him before. I was rocking with playing basketball with them. I'm an athlete too. Slapboxing, playing basketball, playing, in rec time. I'm rapping, freestyling, battling. We're doing all that stuff in jail. I'm the only. There was one other white guy. He was like a down, he was like a weed. He got busted for selling moving a lot of weight of weed, and he was like a hick. And you could see him. He was just trying to stay away. He didn't feel comfortable. So the older black dude calls me over. I was like, "Yo, come over here, young man." And I came over. I sat down next to him. I thought maybe he wanted to play chess with me. And he said, I've been watching you, and I see that you're real comfortable with the brothers, right?" And I said, "Yeah. Well, why?" He goes, "Why is that?" That was his next question. Why is that? And just what we're talking about now is what I told him. And the next thing, you know what happened next? We played chess together. That's where I'll end this debate.
When you look back at your experience overall being in the industry, right, as a white rapper, did you face a lot of backlash early on, or would you say that your experience has been pretty smooth?
Just resistance. There's some resistance, definitely resistance. So, and it's all about relatability. That's all it is. I feel like if you are getting involved in golf and you're Tiger Woods, right, you have to do better than anybody else. All the other white guys who created it and did it for years and they're legends of the fucking sport. You got to do it better than all of them to make the impact, because they're like, "Oh, look at this fucking black guy coming into our sport, a guest in our sport, and now he's better than all of us." So, we had to rap that much harder. We had to be that much doper. That's why Eminem is such a dope lyricist, because he probably had that resistance and he knew that he had to stand out more than anybody else around him that was doing it, because they were more accepted and he wasn't going to be accepted unless he blew everybody away. Jackie Robinson in baseball had to blow everybody the fuck away and be better than everybody the fuck else. And he still got shit for it. But he was one of the best. Right? So that's why he made the fucking impact. That's why he's revered today. And I feel like the resistance is there. Yeah. Immediately, just from perception, and it's natural. I don't hate you for it. I'm not gonna get on you for it. Just because it's natural. You see a white kid pick up the microphone and you're gonna be like, look at this let's see, what are we gonna hear? This fucking cornball. And you know what? Maybe 8 times out of 10 the guy might be corny. It might be some fucking corny shit. Right? Maybe. But don't, if he starts rapping and his shit is dope, if you still say he's corny because you have a blanket over your head that he's white, whatever. And look at the terminology, a blanket over your head, the racism, right? The fucking white. We ain't down with no fucking with that shit. That way of thinking is bullshit. So if you're thinking that he's still corny, meanwhile he's not, and he's actually better than everybody else, then give him his due. Give him his due. He's better than everybody else. So that's it. I don't care. He's a Chinese kid kicking his shit, and he's better than everybody else. He is. The food tastes better than everybody else. It's a Chinese guy cooking Italian food. It's better. It's better than your pizza. I'm gonna go eat it. It's better. That's it. I just feel like, yeah, there was resistance. We have to rap that much harder to impress or be accepted by other black artists, maybe. But there's the artists that know already, like a Raekwon knows. Like, these type of dudes know that there's ill white rappers, and they're not gonna. I don't think they judge it. I think Method Man. I don't think Method Man's racist at all. He's doing fucking movies with Adam Sandler. So I mean, I think that they and RZA. I think RZA's open-minded, man. I think RZA, loves Chinese culture and loves that culture, loves Italian culture, and I think he takes stuff as it comes. I have that vibe. So I
I
just think
think
if you're, yeah, go ahead.
no,
My
I was
bad.
saying, like, one thing that I always wonder is why people always jump to the cultural appropriation argument instead of the cultural appreciation.
That's great. That's a great way to put it. It's better than I would have put it, because I'm very passionate and aggressive too, but in my own way. Not passive aggressive, passionate aggressive, right? I'm definitely not passive aggressive.
Right, right.
But yeah. So I'm also, listen, the as it is, speaking plainly, I can flip back and forth from how I'm raised, and it's real. I can do it. My barber said, shout out to my boy my boy Eric, who cuts my hair and shit. He taped me up and made me looking fresh for today's video. Anyway, so he said you're dope when you can do like your Italian heritage and flip it and speak like, you know, in those, like the Italian lingo and that old school Brooklyn and Queens Italian, and then you flip it hip hop. You hear all the hip hop slang and the different that, and it's how I was raised and it's natural to me, right? So I'm not putting on any kind of fucking show or some act, but I could do. Hey yo, cuz, what are you doing? You want to? Let's go, yeah. Let's go tune somebody up. It means beat somebody up, right? So whatever the fuck it might be, because I was raised on it, I've seen it, I was around it, and I can do that. So him saying that, it's just cool to have those sprinkles of your upbringing, and you know what it is? You're cultured from the melting pot, from Queens, from where I was, from, you know what, and I could talk metal with you. I could talk. That's why me and Necro related with so many different things. I could talk boxing. I could talk baseball. I'm kind of a jack of all trades, and I love a lot of things, and I was into a lot of things, and you know, so it was just it's whatever speaks to you, do it. Whatever makes you happy, do it. Whatever happened to that? When we get back to that, there's going to be less hate and less bullshit and less closed-minded thinking.
And then also you still pay respect to the creators, the originators, the
Oh,
veterans
hell yeah.
that did this. So it's not like you're shitting on them at all. It's like, I recognize that you guys came before me and paved the way for me. You know, it's not like you're disrespecting them.
I don't relate to a lot of the trap shit, but maybe because I didn't grow up, I still, okay, so I'm not going to incriminate myself again. But although I say that in my new rhyme, I said I'd incriminate myself again and kick it in a rhyme. But yeah, so go check out go check out Verbal Viper, my new single, you motherfuckers. It's very lyrical, and it's if you play it, among other things, it's the best thing you'll hear this month. But anyway, I got off track. What was I saying before I did the shameless promotion?
We were talking about still paying respect to the the veterans.
Right. So I'm a lot of the things that I mentioned, the people who I mentioned were black artists. The people who I'm mentioning over and over. I don't relate. That's what I was going to say. I don't relate to the trap because I didn't really sell up. I didn't grow up in a trap house. So they're doing their fucking trap house shit, and other people are relating, and they're into that, and then they may consider that, oh, that's what I relate with. I grew up with that. I'm hood. I'm this. I'm that. Trap house shit. Cool. That's your shit. I don't got to listen to it because I don't relate to it. So maybe, you motherfucker, you don't relate to boom bap beats and lyricism and out of the box thinking and rapping from a perspective of a Tarantino or a Scorsese or a fucking, Spike Lee. Just visionary, like dope shit. So maybe you don't relate to that. It's cool. You don't relate to dope lyricism and fucking beats and this. I see people all the time. Oh, lyricism's dead. Fuck lyricism. It's about beats. It's about this. It's about that. Fuck that. But cool. You like what you like, but don't tell me my art is not important. That's where you got me going when you said that these people are saying that art is not important. It's never that. You can't tell me that. I know it to be false. It's just like I know, like tomorrow, like tomorrow's Monday. I know that my shit is important because I'm on this interview right now.
Right. When you see these lists of like top 10 white rappers of all time or the Mount Rushmore of white rappers, like how do you feel about that kind of stuff?
It's all perspective. So I mean, it's all relative. I don't care. I don't. You know what? I'm going to do my own podcast soon, and I'm going to do my own top 10 lists and my fans who relate to me. It's for them. So those things are just they're debate provoking, right? So when somebody makes their list, everybody loves top tens, and they're going to be like, oh, from this perspective, this guy likes this, and that, and it's going to spark a lot of debate and a lot of controversy, and then the post the person who makes the post, that post bubbles. It's a back and forth. It's a cool post, and
But you
it's
don't
all
get
relative.
offended by it.
Hell no, I'm gonna offend it because I have fans. That's how I can sit back while everybody's working and sit back here and be in my office and not work a fucking day job because my shit is important enough where I was able to buy a fucking condo in West Palm Beach. And I'm happy. It's like I don't, I'm not, listen, yeah, of course. Could I be bigger? Is it cool if I got bigger? My daughter's healthy. I'm healthy. I'm real fucking healthy. I'm ready to box 15 rounds. Not 12 rounds now. I'm ready to box 15 rounds like fucking Muhammad Ali did. Notice I quoted another fucking Muslim black guy who broke barriers. Like, I don't, Rocky Marciano, I'm ready to box 15 rounds right now. So I'm healthy. My family's healthy. My family's happy. My family loves me. My fans love me. I know that I got love from my new single, and it's going to do what it's going to do. Maybe it gets 100,000 streams on Spotify. I don't care about that really as much either. If I'm not making my ends meet, I will go do personal boxing sessions. I'll use my talents to make a little less side money if I need to, whatever I got to do. And I do that. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm successful in my own right, and it's like
And it's
you.
subjective.
It's all subjective.
Yeah.
Everything is perception. Everything is subjective. If you want to debate, cool, debate. Make your top 10 white rappers. If I'm left off it, I actually expect to be left off it. When I see my name in a top 10 white rappers thing, I'm like, oh, that's cool. That surprised me. You know what I mean? It's like all right. It's like seeing a Chinese guy running a pizza place. Oh, that was refreshing. That's cool. So I'm positive in that way. For everyone that leaves me off, I focus on the ones that put me on. Cool. Hey, I might message that guy. Like, yo, thank you. Now I know that you actually appreciate my art, and maybe now we can do something. Maybe I'll tag you in a post, you tag me in a post, and I got a fan for life now. That's how I look at shit. And me doing a lot of the negative shit I did in my life, and a lot of the mistakes I made in my life, and a lot of violence that I did and did or may not have done, it turned into something positive. I'm not going to give it up for anything because it taught me shit. It taught me shit, and it made me the way I am now. And it made me this out of the box thinker. And when I write from a perspective that nobody else. And that's why my fans love me, because they know when they hear a Mr. Hyde song, they're going to get something from me that they can't get from anybody else. You're not going to get the Mr. Hyde swagger, exploitational shit. I'll say something that nobody else would say and nobody else did say. And you won't get it from them. So they got to come to me to get that. If you make a special fucking zeppoli in your Italian restaurant that has a special ingredient that nobody else has, people are going to come to get your fucking zeppoli. I don't know. I'm doing a random analogy to talk food, but I'm saying they're gonna come to your restaurant because you got that on your menu and nobody else has it. Now over years, there may be people that indoctrinate your style because they were influenced by you, and they're doing their own thing. You know what? Cool, respect. You're showing me love, and I'm not gonna say, yeah, I may think in the back of my head, oh, that the guy's definitely a Hyde fan. If he doesn't say I'm his influence, I know, because what he did there, I did it first. So I know. So I understand from that perspective. Oh, this guy is a guest. He's doing what we did, and they might have that. But everything in hip hop is borrowed. So everything in that thing, and everything with food is borrowed. Everything ingredients. If a recipe book is out there, it's out there for a reason. If the break beats are there, if Sam Ash is selling drum kits and to producers, it's there for a reason. It's for you to fucking buy it, use it, flip the drum kit, and put the sample the way you want to put the fucking sample on it. It's there for you to make your fucking art. So don't tell me it's nonsense to me. It's pure nonsense. It's closed-minded thinking, and I don't want to harp too much more on it because we got other shit to talk about.
Right. But it's interesting because I feel like we've been in sync this whole interview, because I was thinking even before the interview, I was like, man, I wonder if Hyde's going to do a podcast eventually. And then you just mentioned that. And then the same thing. Like I'm asking you a question, and the next question is this, and then you start talking about that already. I'm like, man, yo, he got it all.
Yeah. Well, we know we're in sync. Where we know where we're gonna,
Right.
we could trail off each other and go to the next. Kind of anticipate where we're gonna go. But yeah, it's that's why these interviews are cool, man. And you get the perspective from different artists, and if you listen to a Hyde song or you listen to a Hyde interview or whatever artist it is, they have their own upbringing, they have their own influences, their own intellect, their own way of. They're obviously, if they're popping in some way and they have fans, it's because they're talented in some way and people are liking their art. So respect that, man. Like there's all this fucking hate. Yeah, okay, I understand hip hop is revolving around ego and I'm the best and I'm this and I'm that. Well, every rapper have said my shit's the best. Okay, cool. I mean, but so the athletes are all about competing against each other, right? So like if you're the best fighter, you're the champion of the world. But there's other fighters that are dope too. And you're only gonna watch the championship match of the heavyweight champion? Only his matches? No, you're gonna watch fucking the two dope fighters that are getting they're getting their shit on to become the champ. The hungry motherfuckers you're watching those matches too. So listen to Mr. Hyde too. I'm not on Mount Rushmore of fucking greatest artists or greatest rappers, but I might have some dope shit that you might want to check. Because I'm one of those hungry cats that keep releasing quality shit. I think it's quality. My fans think it's quality. Maybe you'll like it. If you hear it and there's nothing that you like in it, you're probably a jerk off. You're probably a dummy. You're definitely a dummy. If there's nothing that you can, like you said, people respect Eminem, right? Like they whether they get down with it or they think he's hood or speaks to them, might not speak to you, but you got to respect that he's a dope lyricist. If there's something that if you listen to a Hyde song and you can't pick out something that's dope in it, you're a jerk off. Because there's definitely dope elements.
How did you feel about that viral Benzino clip when he spoke against the white podcasters saying that you can never be as hip hop as me?
I didn't see it and I didn't hear it and I don't know about it. Honestly.
No problem.
I mean, you could educate me and tell me about it.
Okay.
If you want.
Well,
if you
basically,
want.
Yeah.
I don't.
Basically, what happened was the host was saying to Benzino, you fucked up the Source magazine, which, a lot of people could argue that, him using the Source magazine to go against Eminem and everything, it compromised the integrity of the Source, right? Like before, the Source was the hip hop Bible.
Right. And the rhyme of the rhyme. I remember opening it up and going directly to the rhyme of the month in the Source to see the verse that, like, who got the rhyme of the month. Like that was me because I was a lyricist coming up, and we would open, me and my boy. Shout out to my boy X Lib from Queens, my first like rapping partner and shit. Like the first person that related to hip hop the same way with underground hip hop. So I just spoke to him today. You know what I mean? Wish him happy Easter. He got a kid. We did the underground Hyde fans are gonna know him. So anyway, yeah, I remember opening up the Source magazine and going right to that section, rhyme of the month. You see who got it. And I remember verbal intercourse. It was just something that stuck out to me. Verbal intercourse, Nas's verse on verbal intercourse on Raekwon's album, right? Got the verse of the month. It might even got verse of the year. I'm not 100%. It might have got it. But I remember being able to recite that verse. I was already rapping when that came out. So being able to recite that verse from beginning to end. So it would come on, through the lights, cameras, and action, glamour, glitters, and gold, unfold the scrolls. So I can do it now. So I remember being able to do that verse, line for line, where I could be Nas's hype man, where, Nas, you should hit me up because you do a lot of your shows with your fucking back, with your back lyrics and you don't use the hype man, maybe because you want to make more money. But if you pay Hyde is the best hype man in the fucking game, and I'll do your fucking backup lyrics for you. And I got more energy than you, Nas. So anyway, just saying. I remember going to it and seeing it and be like, yes, the fucking Source gets it. They know that that's the fucking best verse around right now. That's out of this month. That's the best verse. That's the hottest shit out. And it was somebody's verse on somebody else's album. That's the dope shit about it. It wasn't, not no disrespect to whose album it was. I'm just saying, Nas came in there and destroyed it. Kool G Rap is known for that. Jumping on an album as a feature and being the hottest verse on the whole fucking album, and it's not his album. That's when you get those. I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about shit like that. And you can't tell me, whoever you are, that I don't love hip hop. Because if I'm getting the goosebumps talking about shit like that, the old source and the old shit, don't tell me.
Right.
Don't tell me that. Because the same goosebumps that I'm getting will turn into a different type of adrenaline. You don't want. So yeah, it's funny. And I find it funny too because it's also funny when my teeth are in your neck. So listen, the source, he used his platform. You know who else used their power and platform to do fucked up shit and construe it the other way? Hitler.
Right.
When you use your power and your influence of something that's big and you use it to fucking fuck up shit, like and do something fucked up and brainwash the people or brainwash whoever is the main people that are there, Germans, hip hop consumers, like if you want to equate that together, then you're doing something that's it's a tyrant. It's a fucked up thing to do. You're abusing your power. If you're a cop and you're abusing your police officer privilege, gun, badge, power to get over on people, abuse people, and do fucked up shit, then you're no different. Now, whether he did it or not, I don't know. But what you're saying is that that's what he did. He turned the Source magazine and the consumers against Eminem.
He admitted to doing it. He said
Okay.
that, what that was him pulling his dick out and showing people basically that he had the power, you know what I mean? To do something
So
like
that's
that.
a power trip. It's a power grab. Listen, the government did that with, we won't get into too much politics, but the government does that all the time. The government does it all the time. It's a power grab. It's using your power to, politicians do it. Now, Trump is flexing his muscle now. He's doing everything that he said he was going to do. He's doing it now. He's the fucking president. He could pardon my cousin from down the block because, you can do whatever you want. You got that power. You're flexing your muscle. But are you doing good? I'm not going to get into it, like whether I like Trump or not. I like some things about him. I don't like some things about him. I think so. There's a gray area. We talked about that this pre-interview. But and I feel like that's like that with a lot of things. I don't know if everything that Benzino does is fucked up.
Well, let me get to the main point, right? Because like you were saying, you appreciated the Source, like back in the day when the mics meant, a lot, right? It was like
right.
if
5 mics, it meant something.
If it was at least 4 mics, you definitely copping it. 3.5, you
Yes.
might take a look at it, right? But like
That's
it meant a lot, right? What they were saying. And so the interviewer, I think, made the mistake of how he phrased the question to Benzino because he said, "I'm pissed at you for what you did with the Source. You fucked up, you fumbled it." You know what I mean? So like there's a way that you can ask that question to be like, what do you say to the people that believe that you did this, yada, yada, right? Because he was directing that aggression towards Benzino. And we all know Benzino's a hothead too. So like, he's not going to receive that very well. But it got into this back and forth where he was yelling at them. They're white. And he was saying that you could never be as hip hop as me. You grew up in this area. No, it's like it became a racial thing, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I got you. Well, yeah, I mean, the classic, when people get annoyed, no matter who you are, we're human. For the most part, I may be the beast man, but for the most part, you're human. And if you if someone tells you something that you don't agree with, it could be natural to say things you don't really mean, or get aggressive and get amped up and get nasty. And so it is, that's human. That's basic human emotion. So I mean, honestly, if we want to talk about it, if you tell me the Yankees suck, I may agree with you sometimes. I'm like, yeah, right now the fucking Yankees suck. But if I may be like, the screen changed. I don't know why. But or I might be like, fuck you, your team fucking sucks. And then we might get into it like that. So I don't know. I don't know how to. Benzino might have got pissed, and that's it. He got pissed, and he might have said some shit he didn't mean, or maybe he meant it. Like I said, I'm an outsider of the situation. So I didn't really witness it at firsthand, and I didn't really get the vibe of it. But I get what you're saying. If he's using his power to sway everybody against something for his own personal cause, and it's not a cool cause, then you're fucked up. I believe you're fucked up for that if you do that.
So you were saying that like, when people get upset, sometimes they say things that they don't mean. But I feel like if you bring up race as the first thing when you get mad, it's like a sign that you kind of have an issue. You know what
Oh
I
yeah,
mean?
then it's deep. It's deeply rooted. You were raised that way.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like that too. Oh yeah, 1,000%. If the first thing you like when you start to argue and the first thing you pull that is that, you're probably that.
Moving on, right? Can you talk about your friendship with Necro over the years and the things that he's taught you? When I interviewed him, he said that you are his real brother, like even more than Bill is to him.
Hmm. Well, that's the classic. I don't know if it's a cliche, but it's something that we kind of live by. Is like blood doesn't make you brothers. Loyalty does. Loyalty and true. Um, like your experiences with each other. When you have Marines, um, whatever it is, band members, dudes who went to war, you went to war with, or you had experiences with, and they were positive experiences, and you had each other's back time after time after time, over and over. That's why they make these shows, Band of Brothers. Where we've been through so much together over the years, and the loyalty's always been there. Whether it was me with nobody wanting to fuck with me, a crazy bugged out Mr. Hyde who wanted to do hip hop, and I approached him and at a show and basically badgered him. I basically broke his chops. We call it in Italian, Italian heritage in New York. We call it breaking balls. I broke his fucking balls. I'm like, yo, yeah. I was beeping him. He had his beeper number on his VHS movie that he made. He made an independent film called 187 Reasons Why, right? And it was like a exploitation flick because he's influenced by that too. And we bond a lot with movies and so many things. And I started beeping him after meeting him, harassing him about like how if I like the flick, and oh yeah, so what are you doing? When's the next show? Coming through, and we just became friends, over nonstop. He would always call me back. He was just like, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, and then he'd be like, he didn't have a car at the time, so he'd be like, you got a whip? You want to go to Dr. J's, buy some gear? You want to go to the boxing gym? I was gonna go train boxing at Starrett City Boxing Gym, and I'm like, oh well, I box. I love that. Yeah, let's go, let's go. He's like, get out of here. You box? I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. He goes, oh, well, I've been going to the gym, hitting the bag. He's like, let's go, pick me up. So he's probably using me for my car, and I'm using him because I know he's got beats, and but then we just became friends, and relating on every little fucking thing. So wanted to see. He's just he's a real original person, goon. Like the number one thing I could say about Necro is he's fucking. There's no filter. Necro is Necro as a person, as a musician. It's the same thing, same guy, same guy. Although obviously he's embellishing and being a creator like a Tarantino or Scorsese or Hyde, how we create. And it doesn't mean that he's not a good family person, that I don't trust him with my blood and my daughter, and he's the godfather to my daughter. That he's not a great son. You know what I mean? The Necro persona, and it doesn't come into the that's separated. He's actually has a lot of good values. He's not cheap. He's very giving to his friends and people that he thinks and believes are loyal to him. Now, if it's somebody that he ain't really feeling, he can be real. He's going to be very abrasive towards you if you don't feel like you're rocking with his cause or you're not showing him any love. Just the way he is, and I respect it. I respect the fuck out of that, and I'll always stand by him because he stood by me and he's cheerleaded Mr. Hyde to people that slept on me, thought I was whack, thought I was too much, over the top, whatever. Like nobody else was going to give me any kind of a chance rapping the way I did outside the box, looking the way I looked, whatever, like or just acting the way I acted. So I got to give him props for that. He basically handed me beats, friendship, a career, in because he was much further along than I was. He's putting me out. So and just as a friend, it's just it became that way, and forever loyal. When I was locked up, a lot of people that I grew up with, who I showed a lot of loyalty to, didn't visit me, didn't put money into my commissary. Necro did. He showed up. And it was far. Fucking, I don't know if people know, but where I got locked up in Nassau County. To Brooklyn, that's like an hour. It's like an hour drive, you know. He didn't have a car either. he rolled with somebody. He rolled with another goon who I knew from the neighborhood who drove him. You know, put money in my commissary all the time. You know, he just paid for my lawyer. You know, that's shit. That's street shit. That's a bond. That's like these Band of Brothers type shit, where you went through turmoil and you went through things together, and I supported his cause. And I always told him, I said, whether I don't love the business aspect of hip hop. I don't love the entrepreneur having to invest every last fucking dollar into shit, and not knowing whether or not you're going to fail or not. So I don't, and having people. I don't like to deal with a lot of that. A lot of the paperwork and the sitting and behind the computer screen, and just nonstop pushing my shit on people. The room starts to fucking close in on me with business, clerical work, making like business moves, and I'm not that type of dude. I like to go do it. I like to go perform. I like to write. I like to create. I like to be the artist, and I'll be there if you need me for any type of we got to roll to an industry event, and we're rolling, and we're gonna go hobnob with people and do what we got to do. I'm there. I'm with you. We're gonna do a show. We're doing a 35 date fucking tour, and with only 2 days off and 6 shows in a row at a clip, drive all over the fucking country, punch people in their face, the haters, whatever it is. I'm down for it. Let's do it. I'm physical. I'm like, let's go. I'm physical. I'm there. I'm one of these guys. Call me up. We'll go do it. You know what I mean? You gotta get rid of a body. Let's go do it. But yeah, you know what I mean. He's an original man, and he's always had my back. Whether he's Necro first, which I believe you should be anyway. Because if you're the label, you're putting me out. I believe that people be like, oh, how does it feel to be a Necro shadow or Necro's hype man? And that's I feel dope. I like it. We did a lot of shit together. I love being. I don't have to be the fucking cleanup hitter. I could be the leadoff hitter, the number 2 hitter. I'll get on base for you. You hit the home run. Now that's 2 runs that we scored. If I got on base and you hit a home run, yeah, you got the glory from the home run, but I scored 2, motherfucker. I just look at it like that. We're doing it together. His cause is my cause. Now, if I don't agree with something, I tell him, nah, I'm not fucking doing that. You're bugging. Pay me more. No, but I'm saying, like, it is what it is. Oh, what? Wait, what? The itinerary is what? We're driving through the Coquihalla Mountains 6 times in Canada? Nah, you're paying me a little more for this. I'm not doing that. Make me the tour manager on that tour too, and I'll get paid. Pay me on that salary too. I don't want to do that. So we work it out. That's business, but that's friendship too. So we don't agree with everything. He don't agree with the way I am with a lot of people. I'm very outgoing. I have my different views. I'm not, I'm able to like move a little bit more like water and get into and talk to somebody. I'm a jack of all trades. I'm more willing to debate stuff and have like play devil's advocate and see the other side, see how the shoe is on the other foot. He's Necro cause, and if you're against him, fuck you. That's and I think it's a good way to be, and he's successful for it. And
you guys balance each other out.
Yeah, we do. And you know what? He's made me the tour manager and the pre-booker of shows because I can handle these uptight promoters, and Necro should, as Necro the artist, probably shouldn't be. He might not be in the mood. He might be tired from 6 shows in a row and not have a lot of patience, and maybe just dealt with 16 emails. You don't ever know what he's dealing with. He could be dealing with 16 fucking negative emails in a row telling him no about things that he's pissed about. And now he's got to go advance a show to some fucking guy who don't really relate with Necro, the rapper, and just booking him because he's going to sell out the show and doesn't really even care about his art. Let's just say, or doesn't care about Necro, the abrasive, no-nonsense person. So I'll advance that guy and be like, hey, how you doing? How's your kid? I could do the small talk. I'll be like, yeah. Oh, did you get coffee this morning? You ready to deal with this? And we'll bond on coffee. I had my coffee. You have your coffee? All right, let's deal. So you see the Yankee game last night? We'll talk about that first. Small talk, boom, 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 lead into it. Okay, now I can talk to the head of security and make sure that motherfucker gets there first to break up any kind of fight before we do. So that's key important shit that we need to do.
Right.
So we definitely balance each other out with that type of stuff. I went off on another tangent, but that's my brother from another mother. His mom is like I view his mother like my other mother. It's like if I had two mothers, then we're talking about racism and people not being accepted and those type of things. He's comes from a Jewish background, and his mother is a religious. Shout out Marsha. She wasn't always a religious Jew, but she became a religious Jew. It spoke to her, and she keeps the Shabbos and all that stuff. And one of the first things when I got down with Necro, the first thing she did when I came to his house for the first time, his apartment. He was living with Mom Dukes, and she invited me. She accepted me into her home like family, and the first thing she did was invite me to Shabbos dinner. It's the first thing. It wasn't even like, oh, hey, Hyde, come to Shabbos dinner. She don't know if I'm a scumbag, if I'm gonna rob her house. She's not just some street dude. She's inviting. She's very open arm giving, and she knew that if Necro was co-signing me as being a good guy, and he hides the man, and he's in my house, like she knew, and she accepted me in. My culture is completely different. I was raised Roman Catholic,
Right.
So it's a different upbringing. Whether or not that I believe my religious beliefs or whatever they are now, I don't, I'm disassociated a little bit, but I have my own views. But breaking bread with good people who accept you, a wayward kid like I was, I didn't get accepted a lot in hip hop. Just the way I was, and I was looked at a little bit. Even though I got along with a lot of people with sports, I had a lot of things that I got along with people. My inner thinking and the way I was different from a lot of other people, and then my style, whatever it was. So she embraced me and like a mother would, and she was very very nurturing, sweet, and Uncle Howie, and just the whole vibe of that thing. I never forget that. I don't forget when you treat me like family, you're gonna get treated like family back.
When Necro first started bringing you around the camp, right? Like all
Mm-hmm.
the other artists and everything, how would you describe the vibe of the camp at that time?
It was dope. I mean, so I came up listening to underground hip hop, Stretch and Bobbito. I was in that world where we're fucking listening. We got our fingers on. I'm up all night, not going to school the next day. Listening to Stretch and Bobbito. It was a Thursday night. I don't know if people know or care to know on your audience, but underground hip hop and Stretch and Bobbito show was huge. and if you wanted to hear the dopest new shit, you should be listening to that show and recording that show. Tape decks. The tape deck was ready, and I would make my own mix after. I'd stay up till 4 a.m. till it was over. Maybe call the show and rap because they would have people rap at the end of the show, and make my own tape after it. So listening to the show, being Hyde and coming up, and I was going to like these open mics and things and trying to get my style off and perform in front of people. I was in the circuit. I was going to the shows. I was going to the open mic showcases. I was putting my name in a hat to be picked or not get picked that night to do an open mic and just perform in front of people. I was in that hip hop game, in that rat race, whatever you want to say. Like doing that, trying to get on, trying to get my style off, freestyling, ciphering outside of New Eureka Poets Cafe, Lyricist Lounge, Wetlands, all these places where they had the hip hop events. So when he brought me around, I'm meeting Non Phixion, his brother, like people who have singles out and have shit out that I'm feeling and I like, that I'm hearing on these shows. People that have shit out that where I want to be. So I was like grateful for it and be like, oh, I'm in the mix with these dope artists that I like. And oh, that's Bill. Oh, that's whoever, so and so, and I was cool. And they were, maybe they didn't embrace me right away because I was different and I'm Necro's friend. I'm not their friend, but they I don't think they thought Like, oh, hey, Hyde, oh, we love you right away. Like, it wasn't like that. It was just like, yeah, it was cool. Oh, Hyde's around. That's Necro's friend, and so I was around. I would come to events, and I think after being with me at different shows, I'd come support their event, and then roll with Necro to a Non Phixion show, or whatever was going on, or roll to their studio on Flatlands Avenue, and I'd be there hanging out, and they'd be whatever, rolling up weed and doing whatever, recording tracks, and I was around it, and it's cool, like the early beginning shit, and they're dropping singles, and I'm there, and I think everybody kind of respected me and liked me as far as like as that concerned. Whether they like me musically or not, I think they had their own shit. They're doing their own shit at that time, and they were popping, and I'm nobody at that time. So yeah, so there's a hierarchy there, and maybe they didn't think that I was that good of a rapper, or that, well, who's this new kid that he's bringing around? He's rapping horror, whatever. Like maybe they thought that. I don't know. I can't really speak because they didn't. If they thought that way, they didn't say it to my face. you know. So it's a, and that's how. But as they showed me love in person. So whether or not they didn't, I know that Necro tells me that he had to lobby them to put me on their albums, and he had a vision to get me on their albums, and I believe that that's true. I don't think he's lying to me, and I think that maybe Bill's a lot doing shit from a lot earlier than I was, and I respect Bill for his contribution to hip hop, and I view him like a fucking legend, of in hip hop. So it's like I have respect for Bill in that right. So whether he thought I was ready or not to be on his album, and maybe he told, oh, this kid's maybe coming out of nowhere and he's not ready yet, and if you're gonna put him on my album, fine, he could do a hook, like something. I feel like you got to pay dues, and that's cool. And I was hungry, and I was all for it, and I don't care. So that's like, all right, this new player is on the team. We're gonna bat him ninth for a while, and if he shows he can hit some home runs and contribute to the team, then we'll move him up in the order and bat him, sixth and fifth. So I understand there's a hierarchy. I'm a team player, so it is what it is. So maybe people will give him resistance, and maybe hip hop is a very ego thing with the nose up in the air, and oh yeah, whatever. Very like, oh yeah, he raps too. Who cares? I'm the illest right now. So and they were. Non Phixion was the illest at that point in that realm. So I'm fine with it. I feel like I got respect from Bill later on a little bit, like as far as like, he's given me props between us. We have our own relationship, or we had our own relationship over the years that it is. So Necro did go to bat for me. I was like, yo, you know what? You're bugging. Maybe if you don't think that Hyde is on a level just because he's new, because he's dope and he's very original and he raps rugged and brutal and he's real. So Necro liked it, and he went to bat for me, and I'll never forget that. And I that's like the person who drafts Jeter. Jeter might not have looked like anything special, skinny kid. Maybe you could play in the Yankees, maybe you can't, but he got the shot.
I'm gonna ask you something that is a narrative that exists out there. And Necro, when you watch this, just remember this is not something I'm making up. This is stuff that people are saying online, and people on Reddit and all on the internet, they're saying this, right? So I just think it's best to clear it up, because when a lie is left unchecked, it becomes the truth, right? But the narrative is that when Necro brought you in, people weren't feeling you artistically or from a skill point, and he asked a certain member of the camp, I think you know who I'm talking about, what they thought of you, and they said you needed some work, and somehow Necro allegedly created this fake beef between you two. This is what they're saying online.
That may or may not be true. It didn't cross me in my face. Okay? So everybody is going to agree on one thing, that if it gets brought to me, I'm actually pretty cool with criticism, because I felt like I was given an opportunity, and if you tell me that Necro actually coached me on certain things on my solo album, Born of the Naked Dead. I respected him as a producer. He's co-signing me. He is producing and funding my complete first album, my solo album. So who am I to tell him, nah, you're wrong. My shit is dope. It doesn't need any work. Right. Like, so he did. He said, so the song, I'll give you an example. The song, The Crazies, right? I wanted it just to be some rugged shit where I was talking about fucking somebody up, right? It's one of my classic records. And he was like, yo, this beat, everybody wanted to rap on this beat. And I said, this beat is for Hyde. Like this is because when he was putting out all the albums in 2004, we all got a selection of beats, and it was hundreds of beats, which is like it's crazy. It's like a kid in a candy store that we had 150 Necro beats to all hand pick and choose. So a lot of us picked the same beats. I picked beats on Sabak's album that I wanted, and he was like, you know what, that's more for Sabak, and that's the RZA dope producer, executive producer that Necro is. So I think that's pretty cool. I don't know. And they all, I think they all picked the Crazies beat to rap on. And Necro was like, nah, that beat Hyde. That's for Hyde. Like Hyde's gonna sound the best. But Hyde, I don't like what you're rhyming about on it. I think because everybody wanted to rhyme on it, we should make that a posse track, and don't make it a solo Hyde record. Being that everybody wanted to rhyme on it and it's dope, and you could set it off. It's your album. You set off the Crazies with your verse, and let's put everybody on it. It'll be like a dope Wu-Tang rapper after rapper. He said that. He brought that to the table, and that's him being a team player. And I said, hell yeah, you're right. Let's do it. And I rewrote my verse. My verse wasn't that at first. I rewrote my verse and made it some posse shit. Me spitting my shit, and then the next motherfucker up spits his shit, and we made it like a Circle of Tyrants type steez. And I think, honestly, Circle of Tyrants might have got butted. Like Circle of Tyrants might have came from a lot of the stuff that was on my album. Like we did a lot of posse tracks, a lot of features on my album, right? And the way that it came off, and it came across to the fans, it was very on some Wu-Tang shit, but aggressive, Hyde style, violent. Not saying that obviously Necro style too, Necro beats, but Circle of Tyrants became a runoff. I felt like it was a runoff of Barn of the Naked Dead in a way, and I thrived, and I didn't get a lot of love right off the bat from the Necro fan base on the message board for Barn. They're like, oh, a Necro wannabe. Oh yeah, Necro's protege. Or Necro, he's just rapping evil. He's just like he's rapping horrorcore, like whatever. So a lot of maybe the diehard hip hop fans might have like shit on me a little bit, said I was one dimensional, and that maybe that I couldn't hold down my whole a whole album by myself because I had these legends at the time, like Bill and like Non Phixion and Necro, and like who already had to adapt, and they're respecting their place in underground hip hop, and they're all supporting cast on my album, and maybe I can't hold down. Yeah, Hyde is rugged, or Hyde, he spits, he's rugged. Yeah, but I don't think he can hold down a solo album by himself. He needed all that, and maybe I did, maybe I didn't. It definitely helped. It definitely helped. Like if you're in a lineup with Mickey Mantle, Babe Ruth, if you're in that lineup in there, and you do your thing, and then they knock you, they hit the home run, even if my verse wasn't the best on my own album, but I did my thing, and the song came out good. Hey, it's a classic album. If you look back at it now, you may respect my verses a little more and say, hey, this kid had something. He was different from everybody else. He actually held his own with everybody. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. That's up for debate. But I know that where I've come to as a lyricist now, I'm very competitive, and I think people know that they're going to have to come with their best shit if they're on a track with Hyde. My energy, my lyricism, my flow, my presence on the mic. It's not easy to match. So cool. Bring out that competitiveness. A lot of people don't do. A lot of maybe bigger perceived artists who fans want me to do songs with don't do songs with me, or not receptive toward it, or never reached out, or someone I might have put on my album never, and I'm like, yo, you gave me that verse, that's dope, throw me on your album, I got you on a verse anytime you want. They never hollered. So I'm not gonna say any names, but I'm saying like they never hollered.
But have you heard that narrative I'm referring to? Have you heard people talk about that before?
That it's not true. That Necro said other members in the camp that said I needed work. That it's not true. I think that's probably true.
No, I mean like that there was a fake beef that was created between you two. Have you heard people say that before?
A fake beef that was created between us two. Um,
Between you and another member of the camp. I can't say the person's name because they've made
oh,
threats to report videos and stuff.
a fake beef was created. That's what I'm saying. If it happened, it didn't happen to my face. So maybe a fake beef might have been created so they don't have to come to say it to my face. You know what I
Got
mean?
you. Okay.
Like if a guy comes over to me like, "Hyde, you suck. You need work. You can't be on my album." Like I'd be like, "Yo, explain yourself." Like I don't know. I just don't think it would happen. It didn't happen. So so it didn't have. It all depends on how you come at me. So
Right.
so like I'm actually receptive towards criticism, is what I'm saying. So if it did happen, and somebody thought I was garbage and I needed work, somebody in the crew, if it did happen, then maybe I did need. Maybe in their opinion, I did need work. So what you're saying is that Necro poisoned me and my relationship with that person, saying that this person thinks you're garbage. Is that's what you're saying?
Basically, that's what the narrative is
Oh,
saying
that's the
that
narrative. Okay,
people are
okay.
saying online. Yeah.
If it okay, so I mean, yeah, Necro told me that Necro told me that people were not really feeling me 100% yet. That just that fucking that I needed work, and I'm like, cool. I mean, whatever.
I
If
mean,
it's
you
the
got to
truth,
start
it's the
somewhere,
truth.
right? You got to start
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
somewhere.
yeah, yeah. Necro was like, do a. I just come out and say it. So it's like do a hook on Bill's album because it's Bill's solo album, and Bill, like he wants you to do a hook, not a full verse. So I'm like, all right, but at least I'm on the album, right? I just look the glass is half full type thing, like so. I get my shot. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna impress. I'm gonna do my thing. I get on your album, whoever's album it is. I'm gonna get on it and do my Hyde thing that I was capable of doing at the time. Maybe I'm better now. Maybe I'm better then. That's there's fans that say that, oh, Hyde, do you all the shit that they shit on, and I said I was one dimensional. Now they want me to do that old style. Oh, I like your old shit better than your new shit. Like some of them,
You can't ever make
so
everyone happy.
yeah, so I can't make everybody happy, but I know I'll slap your fucking face. No, I mean, in person, like if you get disrespectful. So state your case. You don't think? I mean, I have fans tell me all the time, like, "Oh, yo, your old shit is legendary," and I'll be like, whether I may think, "Oh, fuck this guy," like so that you're saying that you don't listen to my new shit. All right, whatever, man. You like my old shit? Cool. Hey, I'm selling Barn of the Naked Dead on my website now, the reissue. You want to buy it? I'll sign it for you. I'll make lemons out of lemonade. I mean, your lemonade out of lemons. Like I'll find a way to I don't take it. I'm not gonna. As you see, I'm a very confident person.
Right.
So true confidence. Someone's a comment is not gonna break down my confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's comment. I know what I'm capable of. I know I got fans. I know that my shit is good because I like it. I like to listen to it. I find myself as a connoisseur of hip hop music and good music. A lot of the people I mentioned, are good. So if I'm listening to my my own shit a lot, it's good. So it's like whatever. I know my shit is good. So do I have to be the best on the fucking planet and be on Mount Rushmore? No. If you listened and you liked and it helped you, thank you. Keep listening. You might not like my new single, but you might like my next single. So give me that chance to
Right.
impress you next time. Hey, if I did an album, if you jumped on my album and you did a dope verse for me and fans liked it, they might have liked it because me and you, our dynamic on the track was dope together. So why don't you holler at me? I told you I got you on a verse. Hit me up. Let me rap on your album and it might be dope. So, and the fans might like it. But you know what? The rappers are they don't want to be outshined on their own shit.
Right.
Because of that. Remember I said I thought Nas had maybe the best verse on the whole fucking album, and the Source thought that too? Maybe they don't like that. Maybe they like it because it made it a good song. Listen, I'll come straight out and say it, bro. On Barn of the Naked Dead, I feel like, and I've told Bill this, I've told Necro this, I felt like Bill and Necro had better verses on my album than on my own song. And I'd be like, yo, Bill, you fucking killed that verse. I love this, and this, how you did it. Necro, you destroyed the song Knife in Your Spine. It's a classic Hyde song. It's really fucking brutal. It's a Suspiria beat. It's a real dope song. Love it. It's one of my favorite songs. The fans love it. I like Necro's verse better than mine. There's fans that have told me they like my verse better than Necro's. Me, Hyde, I'm telling you, I think Necro killed it better than I killed it on the song. I think Bill's verse might be the best on the Crazies.
You,
Whatever. That's my own personal taste.
you know though, like I think Necro say if he did say that to you, it people are jumping at the negative, but he could have just been trying to inspire you to work harder though.
Oh, that's definite. That
Yeah.
is fucking definite. You know what that's called? Called in the music business and in bands and in teams, it's called hazing, right? So you can haze me in your own way. Don't tell me that I'm not on your level physically, or that I don't have the same hunger or the same dedication, or I'm not going to put the same work in. I might not have been as lyrically proficient and technical and perfect as everybody else who's a veteran is. That's what a coach does. And you think you're gonna walk in the room and be doper than Dre on Dre's song? Like probably not. Be a little humble. I don't know. I'm a team player, man.
But
It's tough for
Necro
me to.
saw the potential in you though, which is really
Yes, yes,
important. You
yes,
know.
yes, yes. And he in his own way, in his own blunt, abrasive way, down to fight for me, probably pissed them off. you know, and he pissed him up like, yo, are you out of your fucking mind? Listen to Hyde is fucking dope, and Hyde will rep his shit and rep your shit and punch people in their face for you, for him, for me, and come on tour, work harder than you on your own fucking song or on your own fucking tour. And it's true. That's true. Everybody wants me down with them because I'm a good team player, and I just have an energy about me, man. I know my energy. When I pop up in the room, I'm gonna keep it real with you. Nobody's really saying shit to me. When I jump in the room on some one-on-one shit, and like you're gonna diss me, you're gonna diss Hyde. They know my energy. You know my energy. I don't know how else to explain it. I don't want to come across violent.
Right, right. I got you.
It's just whatever. You ask a lot of people in underground hip hop. Do your research. Like ask. I'm not gonna. I don't want to say names either. Just people, my contemporaries.
So 2005, right? You guys released the album Circle of Tyrants, which is a
Yes.
group of you, Gore-Tex, Ill Bill, and Necro. I know it started because of the song Circle of Tyrants off of Gory Days, but can you tell us the story of how you guys decided to, you wanted to do a whole album, make it a group and everything?
Yeah. I mean that's it was really the fans. I think love those Wu-Tang-ish type of nonstop verse after verse, different flavors of different artists. You got Protect Your Neck. So we came directly after that, and we're all influenced by that. We were rapping when Wu-Tang came out, so we all had our little characters and our style already. But we're influenced. Everybody was. If you say that you at that time you're not influenced by Wu-Tang, you're a fucking liar. Because Wu-Tang changed the game, right? So we were on some. Necro wanted to make it like he's the producer on some RZA shit, and whether or not it was justified or not, where not everybody wants to. It's an ego thing. So so like it might have been cool for a little bit, and then people they might not like the way you interact. The team breaks up eventually. The band breaks up. It happens all the time. People make a big deal out of it, but people maybe need to feel the need to break off and go solo and do their own thing, and you might have creative differences, whatever the fuck it may be. So there's a devil's advocate to everything. For one reason or another, eventually we couldn't get along to continue doing PLR the way that Necro wanted it.
But
So
was the chemistry good when you guys were doing the album though? The chemistry everything was all right, or there was like difficulties?
there was there was definitely creative things that one guy might not have liked about the other guy, and maybe his work ethic or what he's doing or who's bringing more to the table. It became a lot about that. Like, yo, I'm producing directing, funding, doing everything, and I'm down to put out your first album. I'm doing all this, and then you maybe just the way you feel on it is but I'm entitled, right? I'm entitled to that because I'm so and so, right?
Got you.
Whoever it might be, and for me, I came from a different standpoint. I came like Necro was my best friend, and he put me on, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. Like I look at it like the Joker, right, from Batman, the classic Batman with Michael Keaton, right? When the chaos is going on, and he just becomes the Joker, Jack Nicholson, right? He just becomes the Joker, and now he's the boss now, and he has the fucking crime syndicate in his hands, and he's smiling, and he's like, and the radio's the TV's talking, and it's saying, "Oh, Gotham has gone crazy, explosions, this and that, chaos, this," and he just became the Joker, and he goes, "Ha, wait till they get a load of me." So that's how I felt. I'm like, oh, I got this opportunity now to be Mr. Hyde. Wait till they get a load of me. I'm gonna fucking come through. I'm gonna make my mark. And I feel like on Circle of Tyrants I did. And that's where I started getting really a lot of the respect from the fan base. Like, wow, Hyde did his thing on Born of the Naked Dead, did his thing on features on their solo albums. Maybe people also hated. Oh, I'm glad Hyde's last. These are things like, comments. I'm glad Hyde is last on that song because after all the other verses, I can shut the song off because Hyde is last and good. Shut it off. it's Hyde's verse. I find that shit funny now. Back then I didn't. I was hungry. I was like, oh, what do you mean? I didn't know if I didn't even know if I was as dope as everybody else, but I knew that what I was writing was aggressive and it was what I wanted to do at the time. And I knew my shit was rugged enough to get on these rugged beats, and I'm flipping my style, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. You know what I mean? So it's whatever. And if anybody said something to me, to my grill, in a disrespectful manner, I'm down to fight now. Now we can fight. You disrespected me? All right, you can tell me I need work, maybe change this, and I'm receptive to it because it's like, okay, if I'm fucking the song up, if you think I'm fucking the song up, I respect you because you're dope. So tell me what you think I should do here. It's your album.
It seems like the criticism is real harsh though. When you read these like Reddit posts and some of these comments that people make, they'll say like, like you're the worst and everything, and you ruined all these things, all these necro beats and stuff. So like, it's pretty crazy.
I find it funny. Listen. You're in your underwear. You're probably some fucking jerk. So you're probably nobody. You're a nobody. You're our fan. So you're if you're hating on me, it's because that's who said it. Cat Williams. Haters' jobs is to hate. That's their job. So you can't really get mad now, man. That's his job. My job is to make music, get paid off it, and make a legacy, and buy a fucking condo in West Palm Beach. That's my job, and I'm doing it, and I'm inspiring fan bases. For every negative comment I get a positive. I get more. Not that I get one for one. I get more positive. Obviously, I got if I'm answering 300 fans a day, it's because I'm on the ball taking a shit answering fans all the time. So, and I'm interactive with them. It's like, and I had interns do it. I had interns control my social media. Now we got AI, and I'm a little on the fence about it. I may not answer a fan's message for 6 days, but then there's going to be some day where I'm taking a long shit. It's a turd this long, right? So, and I'm able to, and I'm writing. I'm able to type and answer these messages. You can see that all my rhymes were written in a rhyme book, old school. So, and I've also I'm a perfectionist too. I've thrown away more rhymes than I've fucking released because for as much hate as I get and saying that my rhymes are whack, let's say you did back then or whenever, even now, I don't know how many haters I have now. I'm sure Necro has more haters than me, and Necro is perceived to be better than me, right? Because all the haters that hated me were like, oh, Hyde ruined a Necro beat. Bill and Necro were good on the song, but Hyde sucked. So he actually has more fans than me. But he gets more hate than me. It's if you put 1 million people in a town, there's going to be more crime because there's 1 million people there, right? So per capita.
But you know what though? Like people have been receptive to say that like, okay, before Hyde did the same 4-bar, cadence or whatever, and then he switched it up after that. Like he learned. and he did things different.
They mean the robotic flow. So let me clarify that now. Okay, there's a reason for that, and I agree with them. I agree with them. And I've said it in other interviews before, right? Because the Chronicles of the Beastman, my second album, my flow changes a lot. It's different. So Born of the Naked Dead, I'm going to put it out there. I wrote 75% of Born of the Naked Dead, the lyrics, in jail, locked up with no beat, no instrumental. I was in my cell writing the rhymes there with the same beat in my head, whatever I created. So when you do that, a lot of the flows on the songs are in the same pocket. So it was kind of the same, multi-syllables, and I'm rhyming full sentences, and you can see the skill is there, and the wordsmith, I'm a wordsmith, and I'm a literary. I'm actually a literary genius. My mother made me fucking read the dictionary and tested me on it as a kid. She was a disciplinarian, so I actually have an extensive vocabulary, and you can hear it in my songs, and so whatever. So my vocabulary is next level. I'm able to spit shit out. So. But I was writing to the beat in my head, whatever I created. And so there were certain things, and then we added certain songs and certain beats. Necro actually said, you need to rhyme on this beat because it'll change it up a little bit than having the same tempo beat, the same, let's say 86 beats per minute type of scenario. And that's kind of like the Hyde flow. So a lot of the beats were the same speed on Born of the Naked Dead. And I learned that you need to switch shit up. I read some of the comments and I took the constructive criticism and I did that. And I get it. But to be fair and honest, I wrote a lot of these beats a cappella with no beat behind me. Now I write to the beat and I change my delivery to the beat I'm rhyming to. And then there's going to be haters that say, "Now Hyde, you got the same flow." No, Hyde, you don't. So if I rap, hey yo, I'm sort of the type to hold the sword or a knife. Yo, I tore those for spite who live according to Christ. Turn a hoarder with dyke, give a torso a bite, rip a sword with a spike. I can't afford to be nice, right? So if I do that flow, that's a flow, that's a cadence, right? Now I have another rhyme around the same time, and I rap. Well, those that underestimated me, well, they get decimated. See, I got the recipe to be the best at blessing you with heat. What, fucker? You want to battle me with skills? That ain't too smart. That attitude will get you killed, right? So say I rap. Those are two completely different flows, and you can't tell me they're not. If you think that they're the same flow, then you don't know hip-hop, and you don't know flows, and you don't know linkage and wordplay and the way you flip your flows, right? And then I got the song Brains. Just one of my miserable actions will leave you invisible traction. I'm using a scissor for hacking. Both of my fists are for cracking. Envision my zombies ripping your aunties. So I'm rapping all over the fucking place, different flipping my flows, right? So those are different beats that inspire different flows. So, and I do that. And I've been doing it since Born of the Naked Dead. And I agree with them. They were right. But in my defense, I wrote a lot of that shit without a beat behind me. I didn't have the luxury of beats to write to. I was writing four walls and a cot,
Right.
and my fucking sick mind and my aggression and the chip on my shoulder for being in jail. So a lot of that aggression.
When Circle of Tyrants, when you guys disbanded the following year, were you disappointed or you just accepted it that it is what it is?
Wait. Say that again? Oh, when we disbanded, I just accepted it? No. I mean, I was upset about it. Like Necro holds a fucking grudge to this day about it because it was something dope. It was something that we could have been a crazy ass, diverse, different type of ethnicity Wu-Tang. You know what I mean? With a newer, obscure vibe where everybody had their own personalities, kind of like their own superheroes. They were all our own superheroes with our own little flavors. It was a dope thing. I was annoyed about it. Everybody, I don't know if the other members were annoyed about it because they're like, oh fuck it, like sometimes resentment when you break up, it's like whatever, I'll do my thing, and you just whatever, like and maybe they released what they feel to this day is successful to them. And maybe it is, maybe it's not. Maybe the fans still clamor for us to get back together and do a Circle of Tyrants too.
I think
Never gonna
that fans
happen.
really do, though. I think fans really
I
do.
Yeah, but everybody wants maybe the original Megadeth to be to
Right,
be
right,
back together.
right.
You know what I mean? But it's not gonna happen. Dave Mustaine
Yeah.
ain't fucking with them. You know, or
Fans just want what they want,
Axl
right? They don't
Rose.
care about all the politics behind the scenes and all the bullshit and
Yeah,
everything. But
but that's why you try not to. But this is why you try not to drag them into it. Don't drag the fans into it. Just whatever. I just say salute. You like Circle of Tyrants? Salute. Play it again. Put it in. Put it on your playlist. Play it. That's a time where times change. Just listen to that shit. Rock it. Dope. Cool. You like that? You like my verse on that? Cool. Doesn't matter. You think Guns N' Roses fans care if Slash? I mean, they care. Slash and Axl Rose don't get along, and they'll never make another. Yeah, they're like, why don't you get back together? It's cool when they do. You see it in like wrestling all the time, right? The Shield breaks up. Roman Reigns and I'll just go. That's another thing I know about wrestling. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, whatever, they break up, or whatever it would be. The Rockers, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty break up, and it's a big fucking storyline. It's crazy. Why can't you get along with your partner? But it simulates real life and how shit is with siblings, bands, this and that. One of the things that blew me away was the James Brown movie, that his best friend, and like they grew up together, and his best friend, they just couldn't get along, and then they weren't friends anymore at the end. It was like crazy to me. But the fans just want the dope music. They want that nostalgia, that time when it was the way it was, and that comes from a lot of people love Metallica's first album, and they'll say it's the best of the early Metallica, right? Let's just say, or the first. Well, we'll keep it hip hop, right? So the first Nas album, Illmatic, right? Nas might say his newest album is his best album, right? Because it's what he's doing now, and it's what he feels now. But a fan's always going to say, nah, Illmatic's the best. But I'm going to give the age old. Mr. Hyde right now is going to bring you the reason for that. It's not. It might not be because it might or might not be because the first album was better than the newest album. It may or may not be true. The reason is because that artist was so dope, and you heard them for the first time. And what do they say about first impressions? They last forever, right? So when you get the first impression of someone, when you hear something that you've never heard before, and they kicked it to you in that way, when you hear Illmatic for the first time, when you're fucking 16, I don't know how old I was. I was probably younger. And I hear it for the first time. And he spit New York State of Mind hits, right? And it's like straight out the fucking Dungeons of Rap. You know what I mean? And that beat comes on, and he fucking kills it on some New York shit. And you're like, I never heard no shit like this before in my life. That is going to stay with you forever.
Right. And then,
nothing
I forgot who said it, but they said that, like, I can't replicate that time in your life for you. Right. A lot of times it's like where I was at in my life and these memories that are
It's
associated
spoke
with
to
it.
you.
And then the nostalgia factor and everything. It's like you see almost like those memories in a certain like color coded, like where it's like a dreamy state and everything. You know what I mean? Those feelings of nostalgia that is associated with something, it gives you a different kind of feeling. So
And
like
guess
while
what? If you
Nas
know
will be like,
when
my newest album is better lyrically and I'm like advanced in my skills, but people are
that
gonna
may be
say
true.
Illmatic.
That's
Yeah.
that's why I said that may be true. He's probably progressed. Not probably. He's progressed as a lyricist. As Mr. Hyde, I'm going to tell you right now. I progressed as a lyricist. I learned shit. Like you said, I learned. You learn your craft. You don't get better if you don't. Like if you stop wanting to compete with yourself and make. That's where you get lazy and you fall back and you fall off.
Right.
Listen, as you can see, I'm not closed minded. So it's and I don't have a crazy fucking ego. A lot of these guys, the guys we're talking about, they and as warranted, man. Like they put out classic shit. They're fucking. I expect the lead singer of Metallica, James Hetfield, to have a big ego. I kind of expect it because he's put out so much shit, and so the world is on his nuts. So like I don't know. I just don't. It is what it is. I mean, I have my own ego. Like I said, I know I'm good, but it's just like the Mount Rushmore shit. It's like if I got fans, I'm doing all right. I also don't. Maybe Necro will tell me that I don't have the same ambition.
Right, right.
I have a different type of ambition. My ambition is to my art and to my for me more. You know, like it's for me.
Mm.
I started out putting out music that I want to listen to. Like there was nobody who put out only maybe Necro. Like I related to that. When I heard him, I'm like, oh, there's another sick bastard like me rapping like exploitational shit. When I first heard Necro, it was in like '96 on a radio show. He went up to his. Are we recording now?
Yeah, yeah, it's recording.
Okay, so he went up to a radio show, the Martin Moore Mayhem Show, and he went he went up. This should be in the interview. This is a good story. He went up to the radio show with his own beats and his own rhymes and his own, like everything. Usually these DJs would make you rhyme on whatever the hot beat at the time was, right? So like it'd be some primo beat they put on for you, and you'd spit your rhymes at the end of the interview. And he was like, nah, 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 nah. Just I make my own beats. I'm Necro. I rhyme on my own beats. I don't rhyme on nobody else's beats. I wrote my shit on my beat. I'm rhyming to my beat. And I already, as a listener, was like, oh, this guy, like now I'm listening. He's got me interested. I want to hear what he's doing. Then I found out before he did it that he was the producer for the first Non Phixion single. Like he produced Five Boroughs, so, like the single that was out, the 12-inch. So I'm like, oh, I only knew that he was a producer at the time. I knew from going to Fat Beats and seeing the names and the credits on the singles that he produced the record. So I knew the name from that. I didn't know he rapped. And then he came up and he spit exploitational. His first line was 9666, visions flow out my skull scarier. I got confined areas for dish rags with malaria. He said some crazy shit. Like so I was like, yo, this dude is rapping similar to the exploitational crazy, and at the time my rhymes were like maybe abortionist, contortionist, twisting abdomens, hooks pierce your skin, sin, grappling. So I was rapping crazy shit too around that time. And I'm like, wow, somebody who, and then I found out he was a white rapper who produced that record, and so I'm like, I got to meet this guy and see where the fuck his head is at, see if maybe we could vibe. So that's the story of that. So Necro, when me hear, and that's the nostalgia. There will be nothing better to me from Necro than that. When I heard it for the first time, and I was blown away, because I'm telling you, I like shit, but shit didn't speak to me and blow me away. Someone blowing me away lyrically and mentally and the vibe of it, and it felt authentic. I'm a good judge of authenticity, especially when it comes to aggressive shit, and so it spoke to me. So like that nostalgia of that and that time, you can't duplicate it. Like you said, you can't duplicate that time. So I can't be Nas for you, and I can't duplicate what Nas did for me. But I can do what I feel like. When it's authentic, you can do what you do, and it'll speak to someone, and someone will have that same nostalgia about your first record if it was a classic record to them. And then it's going to be hard for you to duplicate that feeling for them from you. That's all. Even if I may have progressed leaps and bounds as a lyricist and as an artist and as an executive producer of my own shit, because since the Barn of the Naked Dead album, I've actually, maybe a lot of people don't know, I've funded and executive produced every record since then, and I have a pretty big catalog.
You've seen Necro work with so many artists over the years, people that were on PLR and then left. What has it been like for you being like the only one that has pretty much stuck around?
That's the bond and the understanding of each other's movement and what makes us tick. So and the team player thing, I'll come back to it. I know that I also know that for Hyde to thrive, Necro has to thrive. It's just it's a true thing. He knows it. I know it. We speak about it, right? I get a bigger platform for my music that what I want to convey if Necro thrives and Necro's doing good. So listen, he's my brother. I want, and I've said it many times. If he decided to stop doing music for whatever reason and just do movies, he did for a little bit. He was doing movies and acting. Guess who was there, driving him to the movie set and doing whatever. Guess who was doing acting college with him? We go to acting classes and rehearsing scenes together and doing shit together. Guess who was there? So whatever he wants to do as a brother, he can go. He could decide he wants to be an Olympic swimmer, and I'm going to be at his fucking swim meet. You know what I mean? Like I'm just saying something random that's nuts. So
Would you say that you're like equivalent to Tony Yayo is the 50 Cent
he
for
always
Necro?
I know he does that analogy. I know he likes to do that analogy. Yeah, I mean it's a Batman and Robin thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the Avengers, whatever the fuck, whatever superhero team, dynamic duo, you know what I mean? So if Necro is the more known Batman, Robin didn't get busy? Like you telling me that Robin didn't do his thing? He didn't eliminate bad guys and do what he was doing? Robin
I
got
think the
busy.
problem is people don't know how to play their position.
Yeah.
Like you see the ones that really succeed, they know like, all right, I might not be of this level, but that don't mean that I'm not good or I don't.
I can't expect to be at Necro's level because he put in more work than me in the business.
Right.
I'm not entitled. Okay, so now we're going to go back to why some shit didn't work out. I don't feel the entitlement. The entitlement I feel is like, I'm your loyal brother and I'm dope. So why wouldn't you want to be down with Hyde? You know what I mean? Like everything I do is for the team. So regardless of if I agree with you or not, there's times when me and Necro didn't speak for a couple of months because we fucking got on each other's nerves so crazy. I'm like, you know what, go fuck yourself. So, and that's what we do. That's what we do.
Right.
That's what we do. There's times when Necro was like, yo, I know you're not feeling me right now. You want to punch me in my face? And, I'm like, nah. Like, yeah, but nah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna do that. You're my brother. Go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? Like, just go fuck yourself right now. I'm not dealing with you right now. And he'll tell me the same thing. I ain't talking to through text. You could tell he's cold with me. You're
Right.
sticking up for somebody who I ain't agreeing with at this time. Whatever, who it is. I'm just playing devil's advocate. But immediately he'll take it like I'm agreeing with that person or choosing their side over his. I'm like, but you might not know what this guy's dealing with right now. He might be dealing with some fucking madness that he ain't trying to talk about what you want to talk about right now. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is, even if it's the promoter. You caught the promoter busy at the time, and he might have answered short with you. And, no might not be no right now. No, no might mean no right now, but it might not mean no forever. So it's just and he preaches the same shit to me: persistence over resistance. And he may go back and be like, you know what? He might, like, fuck this. I'm gonna go message this guy again. This guy who I want to book a show, or this guy who I want to do a business move with. And then you humble yourself and you do it. Sometimes it doesn't work out. And then you could say, you know what? This guy just ain't fucking with me. Fuck this guy. He don't agree with my movement. And Necro's like that. So he don't agree with my movement. Why? Hey, he's a Necro hater. Fuck him. He don't align with my brand. He don't believe in my brand. He thinks his shit's doper than me. You know what? Your shit ain't doper than mine. Fuck you. I got as many fans as you. Necro has a lot more fans and a lot more Spotify listeners and whatever else, and a lot of bigger fucking network and a lot of people who try to shit on him. So, it all could be debated. And the fact remains, he put in the motherfucking work and he deserves his due.
Right. Don't you think that it's ridiculous, like how people will like be like, well, you're not at that level, so why are you trying at all?
Yeah, I mean, how do you get to that level, you fuckhead?
It's like you might as well just fail at life and not do anything if you can't be at that level.
Listen, fans ask me all the time, how can I do this? Give me your advice? And sometimes I'll listen. They'll be like, can you listen to my track? And sometimes I just delete. I can't. I don't have the time because if I stop my day to listen to your shit, I'm not your fan. How do you make Mr. Hyde? You're a fan of Mr. Hyde. You're a fan of Necro. You're a fan of us. How do you make us your fan or make us notice you? Make an impact. Like, do something. Now, if you're asking me my advice, maybe I'll break you off something. Invest in yourself. Don't ever quit. Keep doing it. Keep trying to hone your craft. Keep trying to get better. Accept constructive criticism. Don't think you're the man before you're the man. A lot of rappers think just because they write a rhyme and because they upload something to SoundCloud that they're the man already. Now I'm a rapper. I'm in the game. I'm on your level, Hyde. I got a song out. So it's comical. When you're a grown man like we are, and we've been in the game that long, you just stepped in the game, and you're So don't be that entitled now. So people were looking at it maybe like that. They never heard of Hyde, and all of a sudden Hyde's rapping on songs on Bill's album on Non Phixion. Like with Necro. With maybe he didn't deserve his place. But they don't know the work I put in. They don't know the hunger. They don't know my hip hop background, how I fucking was in school, not listening to anything in school, just writing rhymes. So if I'm in history class and they're talking about history, I might be writing raps with historic connotation about shit,
Right.
like this, whatever the theme was in the class. And I wrote, at the end of the day, there was 6 periods or 8 periods in school. I came out with 8 rhymes. That's some true shit. And my rhyme books are full. So they don't know the work I put in. They didn't know that I was going to open mics, putting my name in a hat just to perform in front of people. Shit that motherfuckers would lose their lunch over. Necro. How Eminem says, "Mom's spaghetti." You throw
Right.
up. You're feeling nauseous. There's vomit on his sweater. Well, that shit. That feeling. Guess what? Because I competed, boxing, baseball, competed in front of crowds, competitive athlete, doing the open mics, not afraid. Just my mother used to put the camera on me, and I would do fucking Michael Jackson songs, and perform for the camera. I would do Beat It and Thriller and dress up like a zombie. I have the pictures. Sometimes I post them. Throwback Thursday, me dressed like a zombie doing Thriller. Right. So I didn't have stage fright. I never did, never will. The bigger the crowd, the better my show. I'm just like that type of dude. When you put me on, I'm gonna perform. That's it, and it's gonna be natural to me. I don't have any there's no shy bone in my body. I'm just gonna get out there, do my thing. No moment is too big for me. The bigger the crowd, I don't get the butterflies. Me and Necro disagree on this. So Necro and 50 Cent had said, if you don't get butterflies, then you're not normal, or you're not a. He said something. You're not a real artist, or I said something. I forget what it was. To me, it's not true. I don't get the butterflies. You know what I get? I get pumped. I get the adrenaline.
Mm.
I get the adrenaline. I get the goosebumps. I know that the fucking crowd is going to be fucking ruckus. and I know that, you know what? I know I'm going to be ruckus. So you're ruckus, I'm ruckus. And we're going to go. We're going to go. The fight, and in boxing, I'm the same way. Fighting, I'm the same way. Street fighting, I'm the same way. In the streets. To me, the fight don't start till I get hit. The fight don't start till you hit me and I bleed. Because it's not a fight. Unless you deal with adversity in the fight, it's not a fight. It's just a walkover. It's a walkover. If I punch you in your face and you get knocked out, that wasn't a fight. That was just me knocking
Right.
you the fuck out with no fucking problem. And it happens a lot. It's never a fight. But if there's a fight, now I'm like, yeah, now we got to fight. It's like, yeah. And I get fueled. So it's the same thing with performing live. Same thing when I'm on you're going to give me the chance to be on a track called whatever the fuck it's called with Necro, Ill Bill, we're going to be on that track. Cool G Rap, there's a song, Wolf Eyes, right? And I've gotten messages where that people have said I'm the best on the song, right? On Wolf Eyes. Me, Cool G Rap, and Necro. Whether I believe or not that I'm the best on the song is another matter. I'm not fucking egotistical enough to say I just know that I came with the best thing that I could come with at that time with 2 people who I hold in such high regard. And I knew that I had to come with fucking razors lyrically to hold my own on the track. So I said, there's no nonsense here, Hyde. You got to fucking come with it. You're going with your one of your main influences, Cool G Rap legend, and a dude who I respect so much, Necro, who's I feel, I got to come with everything I got on the track. So I think I held my own, I think that I held my own, yeah. And I came with it. I came with the best that I can come with on that track. So I mean, it's just like you gave me that opportunity. I'm coming with it. This track's gonna be fucking ruckus. So you know what? Hyde is bringing the ruckus. Bring the motherfucking ruckus. Bring them. I relate, and that's the way my hip hop is, and I feel like I gotta come with. When Cool G Rap was on the MOP record on the Firing Squad album, listen, he came with it. He just came with the ruckus. The verses were just he was known for jumping on a posse track and fucking lighting that shit up. And I feel like I take kind of pride in that I know that I'm gonna play my part in the lineup. I'm gonna come in there. I'm gonna get a fucking dope line drive single. Maybe it's a home run. Maybe it's the game winner. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just contributed to a big score where we blew it out. We did good. Maybe Bill hit the home run. Maybe Necro hit the home run. But I was on base.
All right, Hyde. I just want to thank you for your time, man. Is there anything else you want to say to the people before we go ahead and wrap it up?
Yeah. Never contact me again. No. So, no, listen. Go fuck yourself. This interview is the worst experience. No. So, everybody go check out Panda Chop. This dude is a dope dude. I mean, you got your shit popping. You create a lot of interest and a lot of controversy. Whether or not that's what you intend to do when you create it, it sparks interest and it sparks controversy. Keep doing your thing. Everybody go check for him. If you haven't heard, I guess the point of this is, if you're in a box, if you're under a rock and you're closed-minded, you're missing out, man. You're missing out on dope shit that maybe you could have peeped and you could have became a fan of. Necro, Mr. Hyde, PLR, things that Panda Chop brings to the table. Go check it all out. You can listen to the first 10 minutes. If you ain't feeling it, change your channel. Go check something else out. Go watch.
But at least give it a chance.
Yeah, go watch the sexual reproduction of a fucking flea. Whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever. You know what I mean? Go watch how chimpanzees mate. So do go watch National Geographic. Whatever makes you fucking your canal moist. You fucking jerk off. So, but give real dope shit a chance. Don't be in a box. Don't think just because you think a certain way or your boys think a certain way that's the way. Real music is about expression and about artists expressing themselves in their way. Go peep it and perceive art how you want to perceive it. And if you think that I'm not dope in hip hop, come tell me. Tell me about it. Let's see if we can debate it. I'll embrace that. I'll enjoy that. All right?